Imagine spending 20 years in absolute hell fighting a war that wasn't yours, just so you could finally take down the Demon King and go home, only to realize your entire party was planning to stab you in the back the second you won. He forces a goddess to send him back to Earth so he can finally enjoy a peaceful life. But the universe has a sick sense of humor, because the moment he gets his hands on some fried chicken, he realizes his home planet has turned into a dungeon-infested nightmare too. Now his retirement is officially cancelled. Let's see how a legendary hero handles the apocalypse for the second time. We open on a literal rain of fire as our protagonist thinks back on his 20-year struggle in this hellish world. But today is the day. Today, he finally takes down the big bad and saves everyone. A massive explosion rocks the landscape with a thunderous boom. Looks like the final boss isn't going down without a fight. Through the smoke, we see a terrifying silhouette with glowing red eyes. This guy is the absolute definition of a final boss. The monster lets out a laugh, acknowledging that the hero actually managed to survive his onslaught. He even calls it a performance truly befitting of a hero. While the monster is monologuing, he points out that the hero's party members, the mage, the knight, and the saintess, are all completely spent. They're barely hanging on by a thread at this point. Lee Hun-seok, our hero, is not impressed. He just leans on his spear with a smug look and fires back that the monster doesn't exactly look like he's in peak condition either. The monster completely loses his temper, lunging forward with a snarl while Hyun-seok readies his weapon. He's screaming about how insolent the hero is. Yeah, someone's a little sensitive. They clash in a shower of sparks, the monster's massive claws grinding against the hero's spear. The power behind this hit is absolutely insane. Hyun-seok's companions are barely shielded by a blue magical barrier as they watch the fight in horror. Even behind cover, they're gritting their teeth from the sheer pressure. The monster prepares a massive purple energy blast, threatening to tear Hyun-seok to pieces if he doesn't submit, as if this guy would ever give up now. The beast looms over the battlefield, declaring this land a kingdom built on his own teeth and claws. He's really leaning into the whole King of Monsters vibe. Hyun-seok just stares him down with ice-cold determination. He's heard the villain monologues 1,000 times before. The fight reaches a fever pitch as their attacks collide, sending massive shockwaves through the air. You can practically feel the heat coming off the page. Hyun-seok grips his spear with both hands, his knuckles turning white from the strain. This is the moment of truth. Surrounded by a swirl of intense flames, the hero decides it's time to end this once and for all. He looks like a literal god of war right here. A blinding sphere of light begins to expand from the center of the battlefield. This is definitely going to hurt. The light is so bright that Hyun-seok has to shield his eyes, but he doesn't stop his forward momentum. He's just pushing through the pain. The entire area is consumed by a massive whiteout explosion. Talk about a dramatic finish. Hyun-seok unleashes his ultimate move, the Paradox Flame. He swings his spear, which is now coated in a terrifying black fire. The hero charges through the inferno, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. He's moving way too fast for the eye to follow. Hyun-seok sticks the landing, his boot cracking the scorched earth beneath him. That's a superhero landing if I've ever seen one. He drives his spear directly into the monster with a massive impact. That's gotta be the finishing blow. We get a split reaction shot. The monster's glowing red eye is widened in shock, while Hyun-seok's gaze is narrowed in cold focus. The tide has officially turned. The battle turns into a blur of high-speed strikes as Hyun-seok continuously pressures the beast. He's not giving it a single second to breathe. The monster tries to swipe back with its massive clawed hand, but it looks desperate now. The speed of the hero is just too much. Hyun-seok spins his spear with expert precision, deflecting the monster's desperate counterattack. The guy's a literal machine at this point. The hero skids back across the dirt, planting his spear to stabilize himself with a grunt of effort. Even with the advantage, this fight is taking everything he's got. The monster starts trash-talking again, claiming that an attack that soft won't even leave a scratch on him. Talk about being in denial. Hyun-seok reaches out with a gloved hand, a small smirk playing on his lips. He just asks if the monster really thinks that was soft. Oh yeah, he's got something special planned. The hero's spear reignites with the black paradox flame as he tells the monster this is more than enough to cut down his arrogance. It's about to get real. A massive pillar of black and red flames erupts into the sky, dwarfing everything around it. This is the true power of a hero. A piece of golden armor, looks like a helmet, falls to the ground with a heavy clatter. It seems the monster's defenses are finally failing. The monster is completely engulfed in the black flames, screaming out in agony. The paradox flame is doing its work. The monster leans on his own weapon, barely able to stand. He admits he never thought a human could actually oppose him like this. Hyun-seok stands tall, his cape tattered but his spirit unbroken. He reminds the monster one more time that he is not from this world. The monster coughs up blood, realizing his end is near. He tries to find solace in the fact that his body will at least be absorbed back into the land. Suddenly, the monster realizes something is horribly wrong. His red eyes widen in confusion. Hyun-seok points out that the monster is having trouble regenerating. He asks the beast the ultimate question: is he being erased? The hero explains the terrifying nature of the paradox flame. Unlike normal fire, it uses abstract concepts like reason and memories as fuel. He tells the monster that its centuries-long cycle of resurrection is finally over. This fire is burning something much deeper than flesh. As the black flames consume the beast, Hyun-seok delivers the cold truth. What's burning right now is the monster's very existence. As he fades away, the monster gets one last jab in. He tells Hyun-seok that even if he's erased, the hero will never be remembered by the people he saved. The monster points to the hero's companions watching from the distance. He claims they aren't waiting for him to return, they're waiting for him to die. Hyun-seok's response is a simple, tired acknowledgement. The monster is absolutely floored that the hero already knew about the betrayal. The saintess rushes forward with a fake look of concern, telling the hero not to believe the words of a monster. "Yeah, nice try, lady." Hyun-seok looks at her with pure disgust. He knows her attempts at seduction were just a calculated plan to keep him from attacking when the time came to purge him. He recalls how she wanted him to hesitate so they could get the jump on him. These people are actually worse than the monsters. Hyun-seok turns his gaze back to the saintess and asks her point blank if he is wrong. The look on her face says it all. He doesn't stop there, stating that the other two members of the party are exactly the same. They're all in on it. The knight grits his teeth, shocked that Hyun-seok knew about the Emperor's secret order to eliminate him. He sputters, asking how he could have possibly known. Busted. Then there's the old mage, who looks like he's ready to kill Hyun-seok just for opposing the world slavery system. This group is a total dumpster fire. Hyun-seok reveals he's known for 5 years that they planned to kill him the moment the monster died. Imagine carrying that weight while saving the world. The dying monster is confused. He asks why the hero didn't just use his insane power to destroy the world that turned against him. Honestly, valid question. The hero gives the most relatable answer ever. He didn't do it because he just wanted to go home. He's done with this otherworld nonsense. The monster's glowing eye shows its pure shock. It asks in disbelief if he really just wants to go home. It can't fathom a hero with such simple desires. We jump back to 20 years ago, Earth, 2005. This is where the nightmare started for a regular guy. Before he was a hero, Lee Hyun-seok was just an ordinary 30-year-old office worker. Then some goddess decided to isekai him into another world to save it. But this wasn't some fun fantasy adventure. The world he arrived in was a total disaster, filled with monsters and human cruelty. The goddess gave him one way out: defeat the monsters and save the world. If he did that, he'd get to go back to Earth. And so, for 2 decades, he trained and fought. We see a younger Hyun-seok standing over a defeated goblin, already looking tired of this world. He tried to be a good person, but the locals were awful. Soldiers blocked him from entering a town, telling him he couldn't just go off on his own. He was carrying a wounded child he rescued from a village, begging them to let him in for medical help. He was actually trying to be a hero. The soldiers just mocked him, saying medicine was a waste on a dying kid. This world was rotten to the core. The child screams in agony as we see the primitive, brutal nature of their so-called medicine. It's hard to watch. Hyun-seok watches in horror as doctors with medieval levels of hygiene prepare to amputate the kid's leg just for a simple infection. This is the world he's supposed to save? He carries the child away, realizing that all the healers are mobilized for the war effort, leaving nobody to treat the innocent. Priorities, right? Hyun-seok's expression hardens. You can see the exact moment the bright-eyed hero persona died inside him. It got worse. He witnessed religious zealots burning people at the stake, claiming it was the will of the gods. Absolute insanity. A priestess tells him they're exorcising demons from children. Look at that creepy smile. She's enjoying it. The priestess warns him not to go against the will of the gods. Hyun-seok realizes these otherworlders have no concept of human rights or pity. After enduring 20 years of this literal garbage world, he finally reaches his limit. Back in the present, Hyun-seok screams at the sky, demanding the goddess keep her promise now that his mission is finally complete. He's ready to bounce. The 3 traitors look up as a beam of light starts to descend from the clouds. They know the party's over. A bright, holy-looking light illuminates the area. It's almost blindingly white compared to the scorched earth. The goddess appears, looking all serene and holy. She commends the hero for his arduous efforts in defeating the monster. Hyun-seok isn't playing around. He points a finger at her and reminds her of the deal. He catches the monster. She sends him back to Earth with his soul intact. The goddess gives him a slightly suspicious, knowing look. You just know she's got a catch hidden somewhere. She asks him if he really hates this world that much, even though he's now powerful enough to be a threat even to her. She's trying to tempt him to stay. Hyun-seok just lets out a tired laugh. He's seen all the tricks this world has to offer, and he's not falling for it. He tells the goddess to cut the act, knowing she's just as relieved as the traitors that he's finally leaving. He's the monster they're all afraid of now. The goddess reaches out one last time, asking if he'll truly have no regrets. She still doesn't get it. Hyun Seok drops his spears with a finality that says everything. He only desires one thing, to return to the world he once knew. The spears hit the ground with a hollow thud. He's officially retired from the hero business. The goddess accepts his choice with a simple agreement. Hyun Seok looks up, ready to leave this godforsaken otherworld behind forever. His hand begins to glow as he starts to fade away. He says his final goodbyes to the hell he spent 2 decades in. Hyun Seok is enveloped in a massive beam of golden light as his transfer begins. Goodbye, Fantasyland, don't miss you. The goddess explains that since his original body on Earth is long gone, she has to place his soul into a new vessel. Here comes the catch. Hyun Seok asks whose body he's taking over. The goddess admits she can't give details, only that the body is fated for a wretched end. Yikes. She tells him she's certain he can survive whatever fate awaits him. Thanks for the vote of confidence, I guess. The screen goes black with a final thought from the hero. Whatever wretched end that body has, it's bound to be better than the 20 years of hell he just finished. Eyes snap open as we see a blurry ceiling. The transfer is complete. Welcome back to reality. Hyun Seok wakes up in a messy modern apartment. It's Earth 2025. He's actually home. A text box confirms the switch. Hero Lee Hyun Seok has entered the body of a civilian named Yu Chan Seok. New identity unlocked. He sits up, clutching his head and muttering about those rotten otherworld bastards. The trauma is definitely still there. He spots a mirror and scrambles toward it. He needs to see what kind of wretched body he's stuck with now. He stares at his new reflection, a younger guy with messy black hair and an intense gaze. He tells himself that this is him from now on. The reality of being back on Earth finally hits him. He looks around his small, cluttered room with a mixture of disbelief and joy. He rushes to the sink and splashes his face with clean tap water. He's amazed by this real magic clean, uncontaminated water just flowing from a pipe. Next, he plays with the gas stove, mesmerized that he can create fire with just a button press. No more wood chopping. This guy is loving the modern world. He spots a box on the table and his eyes light up. This is what he missed. It's a box of fried chicken, the ultimate homecoming gift. He stares at the pieces of chicken like they're holy relics. He can't even believe it's real. He grabs a piece and takes a massive bite, looking absolutely unhinged with joy. This is the peak of his life right now. We see him from behind, hunched over his meal and eating with gusto. He's not sharing with anyone. The taste is so good, it literally brings tears to his eyes. He realizes this is what real food is supposed to taste like. He starts weeping while he eats, overwhelmed by how much he missed all of these simple things. It's actually kind of wholesome. He looks out his window at the city skyline, thinking he can finally live a normal life. But then, a red glow appears in the distance. He looks at a clock and realizes time on Earth moved at the same pace as the other world. 20 years have passed here too. The camera pans out to show massive red portals opening over the city. Hyun Seok realizes that even if this world is getting difficult, it can't possibly be worse than the one he just left. Little does he know, the nightmare is starting all over again. Man, nothing beats a hot shower after 20 years of absolute hell. It's the simple things you really start to appreciate when you're back on Earth. Look at that face, pure bliss. Having hot water on demand without having to wait is basically a superpower in its own right after living in the Dark Ages. And don't even get him started on modern tech like air conditioning. Just a single button press and you've got a cool breeze, way better than any wind magic he's seen. He's taking in the view of a clear city sky, finally free from that gloomy, monster-infested nightmare of another world. It's like he's finally breathing for the first time in 2 decades. He's already planning his ultimate gamer comeback with some StarCraft in the year 2025. Too bad there's literally a nightmare fuel face manifesting right behind him. So much for that relaxing afternoon. Spoke too soon. A monster jumps out of nowhere and gives him the fright of his life, making him let out a high-pitched scream. Guess the vacation is officially over. He's totally blindsided by whatever just happened and starts panicking. Suddenly, a public announcement starts blaring through the apartment complex, adding to the chaos. The announcement mentions a corrosion rift, and our guy is completely lost. He's staring at a creepy shadow on the floor, wondering what kind of new disaster he's just walked into. Panic mode is fully engaged for everyone in the building. The orders are to evacuate to the underground shelter immediately, and he's just trying to process how Earth became a horror movie while he was gone. His eye starts glowing that signature amber color again. Looks like those battle-hardened instincts from the other world are finally kicking back in. A horde of these freaky, grinning shadow monsters starts swarming the place with creepy laughs. Yeah, those laughs are definitely a sign that things are about to get very bloody. One of them reaches out with those nasty claws, ready to tear into the wall. The tension is through the roof as the monsters prepare their attack. We've got a view of a dark, empty staircase, the classic setting for a monster chase. You just know something's about to come charging up those steps any second now. Chan Seok is booking it down the stairs while the monsters smash through the entrance behind him with a thunderous crash. They're right on his heels. He's frantically trying to figure out what these things even are while he runs for his life. Not exactly the peaceful homecoming he was expecting. The swarm is massive and they're coming fast, filling the entire stairwell. He's totally bewildered that Earth has turned into a literal hellhole while he was away saving another one. He manages to find a moment to duck behind a wall and peek through a small window to check the area. Gotta stay stealthy when you're being hunted by a literal mob of demons. He's making his move and climbing through the window to escape into a different hallway. Desperate times call for some quick thinking and a bit of parkour. Finally, a breather. He's inside and thinks he's managed to give the monsters the slip for now, leaning against the doorframe. But wait, he's not alone in the hallway. He finds a little kid just standing there with a wooden stick, looking surprisingly calm despite everything going on. Chan Seok tries to tell the kid to get to safety in the shelter, but the little guy is more interested in finding where the monster went. This kid's got zero fear, or he's just really confused. This kid seriously just asked him if he wants to tag along to kill the monster. Talk about a wait, what moment for our battle-weary hero. Chan Seok's face is basically all of us right now. Total shock. He can't believe a literal child is out here trying to play Monster Hunter. Then comes the bombshell. Earth has been a monster-infested disaster for 13 years now. Our hero is just realizing how much of a mess he missed while he was gone. The kid refuses to go to the shelter, so Chan Seok is stuck babysitting him to make sure he doesn't get himself killed. And by babysitting, I mean tagging along on a potentially suicidal monster hunt. The kid looks ready for business with that determined stare. Chan Seok is still trying to wrap his head around this insane new reality he's woken up to. He gets a quick lore drop on corrosion rifts, basically random monster spawners that nobody understands. Sounds like an absolute nightmare to live with on a daily basis. He's absolutely fuming and looks like he's about to explode. He spent 20 years in one hellhole just to come home to another one? Talk about rotten luck. He's cursing out that damn goddess now for giving him such a raw deal. He definitely feels like he got the short end of the stick on his way back home. The kid starts getting suspicious about why he's so clueless about basic survival stuff. Chan Seok pulls out the classic, "I lived in America for a while," excuse to dodge the questions. Flawless. The kid starts rambling about weird political news from the States to test him. Chan Seok is just completely tuned out at this point, wondering what he's talking about. The kid shifts the conversation to famous hunters, specifically one named Lee Se-yoon. He's a total fanboy for this girl. We get a glimpse of Lee Se-yoon, an action top-tier hunter with a massive sword. Chan Seok is just glad he successfully changed the subject to something less suspicious. He's actually shocked that normal humans are fighting monsters here too, just like in the other world. It's starting to feel way too much like the life he just left behind. The kid is still gushing over Lee Se-yoon's cool greatsword. Chan Seok is deep in thought, probably reminiscing about his own legendary weapons that he left behind. Before the kid can finish talking about YouTube videos, Chan Seok shuts him up with a hand over his mouth. Silence is key when there are monsters about, and this kid talks too much. He spots something dangerous ahead and immediately goes on high alert. The damn it says it all, things are about to get real. He counts a whole pack of those creepy grinning monsters lurking in the shadows nearby. It's a full-on ambush waiting to happen. He's already scanned the area and pinpointed exactly 6 monsters, including one trying to be sneaky. His combat awareness from the other world is clearly still top-notch. He's assessing his new body's strength, and he's relieved that it seems to be above average. He's used to fighting multiple enemies, so this shouldn't be a problem, but he still has to protect the kid. The little guy's bravado has completely evaporated, and he's shaking like a leaf. Chan Seok realizes he can't just leave him there to get eaten, despite the kid's earlier monster hunter talk. He's weaponless and trying to figure out a plan when that familiar blue mana starts swirling around his arm. Here we go. He senses something familiar in the air actual mana. He didn't expect to find the same energy source on Earth as he did in the other world. Once he confirms it's the same mana he used for 20 years, his whole attitude changes. Time to show these monsters what a real hero can do, even with a new body. One of the monsters makes its move, lunging forward with a terrifyingly wide smile and glowing red eyes. Big mistake, buddy. Boom. The monster gets blasted back by a sudden burst of purple-black flames. Guess who's back in the game? He's effortlessly protecting the kid while channeling his magic in his right hand. This is pure hero energy right here. He's got his signature paradox flame back. It's a bit weaker in this body, but it's still more than enough to handle these low-level chumps. The monster is literally getting incinerated by the purple-black flames while the kid watches in total awe. Yeah, kid, your mister is kind of a big deal in the hero world. He finds out his flame is what people call a unique skill in this world. He plays it cool, just acting like a nice guy who saved a kid and is glad he's not hurt. The kid suddenly bolts to confirm the kill because of something he saw on some Hunter Academy YouTube channel. Chan Seok is just like, wait, come back. He knows it's still dangerous. He knows something the kid doesn't. Those paradox flames are dangerous to be around even after the main blast. He's looking very serious now. Spoke too soon. The monster is reforming from the black smoke, and it looks even creepier now. He yells at the kid to stay back until the target is dead. Something's about to happen in a flash of light. You can practically hear the tension snap as he prepares to finish it. The kid is frozen in fear as the monster looms over him with those wide eyes. Chan Seok steps in with a calm but firm kiddo to get his attention. He literally just grabs the monster by the face and starts roasting it with his bare hands. He's still confused about what YouTube is, but he knows exactly how to kill. He stands tall over the terrified kid with the dead monster smoldering behind him. He gives the kid some life advice, maybe lay off the YouTube tutorials for a bit. Badass level 100. He asks to borrow the kid's staff, which is really just a wooden stick. Even with a twig, this guy is a major threat. He tosses something aside and gets ready for the next round. He's finished with his business here and he's not wasting any time. He goes absolutely ham on the rest of the monsters, slicing them to ribbons in a blur of high-speed motion. Stick or no stick, he's an absolute beast in combat. Another close-up of that glowing amber eye, full of intensity. He's in full-on hunter mode now, and nothing's going to stop him from clearing the room. Total annihilation. He's standing over the corpses of his enemies, looking like he barely broke a sweat despite the intensity of the fight. The kid is completely floored by what he just saw and falls to the ground in shock. He's looking up at Chan Seok like he's a literal god of war. He's walking away, looking exhausted and catching his breath. The kid is already asking if he's secretly a professional hunter because that was way too good for a civilian. He's staring at a pool of blood on the floor, clearly disgusted that he still has to deal with this even back home on Earth. The stench of blood never really leaves you. He's gritting his teeth in frustration and looking really bitter. All that hard work for a peaceful life and this is what he gets? He's not happy about this new world at all. The realization hits him hard. Earth is basically just another version of the hellhole he left behind. No difference at all in the level of chaos. We see a crowd of people gathered in what looks like a shelter or lobby area, all talking at once. The world keeps turning, even during a monster attack. A door slowly creaks open, building up the suspense for what's inside. Who's on the other side of this entrance? He's back to joking around with the kid as they walk in, complaining about modern slang like little brats. The kid's not having it though. He insists they are elementary schoolers. A woman spots the kid and looks absolutely terrified and relieved at the same time. She screams his name as she rushes forward. The woman hugs the kid and thanks Chan Seok for bringing back her reckless son. He's just awkwardly taking the thanks and rubbing the back of his neck. He notices the woman is decked out in designer gear and expensive jewelry. Turns out he just rescued a rich young master from a high-class family. Suddenly, a massive sound shakes the whole building, catching everyone by surprise. Everyone's eyes go wide. The danger is definitely not over yet. A gigantic gray fist smashes right through the wall with a thunderous crash. This isn't just another shadow minion. This is something way bigger. The monster is literally tearing the place apart as more rubble falls from the ceiling. The crowd is in total chaos as they realize the shelter isn't safe. Look at those nasty teeth and that long tongue. This giant beast is terrifying, letting out an ear-piercing shriek as it breaks into the shelter. Total panic as the shelter wall collapses and people start screaming. Everyone is running for their lives as the situation turns into a stampede. Even the kid knows this thing is out of their league and tells Chan Seok they need to run this time. The kid's got some common sense after all. He looks absolutely done with everything and looks away in frustration. All he wanted was a simple life, and now he's back to fighting giant monsters. He just wanted to catch a break. He's reminiscing about how much he missed home while standing his ground against the monster. The home he returned to is proving to be a real disappointment. He looks at his hand, which is stained with the residue of his magic. He's questioning if his simple wish for peace was just asking too much of the universe after all he went through. He's back to calling the kid a brat even with a giant monster right in front of him. The kid's still annoyed by it too. Some things never change. He asks the kid why a rich boy like him wants to be a hunter instead of just living a safe, comfortable life. He's trying to understand why anyone would choose this life of violence voluntarily. The kid looks back at him with a surprisingly serious and mature expression. He's got his own reasons for wanting to fight, and they're definitely personal. And there it is, the tragic backstory. He lost his dad to a monster, which is a classic hero origin story if I ever heard one. He learned the hard way that nowhere is truly safe anymore, not even underground bunkers. He realized he had to fight if he wanted to have any hope of a future. He's got big dreams, become the strongest hunter and wipe out every single corrosion rift on the planet. He's got the spirit of a true hero, even if he's still small and scary things still scare him. He screams out that he wants to save the world. He says it with so much conviction that it's hard not to believe him. He's basically a mini version of our protagonist. Seok gives him a small, genuine smile and tells him he'll be a great hunter. It's a real passing, the torch moment between two people who know the cost of war. He tells the kid he won't be able to save the world though, as he starts walking towards the monster. He's got that confident stride that says he's about to end this. The mom is frantically trying to get the kid to safety, but the kid is still worried about the mister and wants to stay. He knows he's about to see something big go down. Another massive explosion shakes the area, throwing dust and debris everywhere. The mom looks like she's about to faint from terror as the fight begins. One last scream from the kid as he's dragged away by his mom. He's desperate to see what the mister is going to do to that giant beast. Seok's face is cold, focused, and ready for battle. He's about to go all out and show everyone what 20 years of experience looks like. He's standing in a whirlwind of dark, shadowy magic, ready to take on the world. He says it's because he is the one who is going to do it, saving the world. He repeats it to himself, his eyes filled with a terrifying level of intensity. This giant monster has no idea what's coming for it. He smirks. Saving the world is a job for someone who's done it before. Absolute legend. We get a quick recap of our hero's life, reborn into another world, fighting for 20 years, only to come back to Earth and find monsters here too. Talk about having zero chill time. He reflects on the fact that his survival depended entirely on his past life's combat experience. He made a promise to a kid to save the world, and he's clearly taking it seriously. Cut to the present, and our former world saver is just chilling at his desk, brushing his teeth while gaming. He admits to himself that lately, he hasn't actually done anything heroic. The screen flashes a big victory sign. For a guy who spent 2 decades in a literal death world, modern gaming is probably like playing on tutorial mode. He takes a swig of a glowing energy drink and mutters that he won way too easily. This dude is the definition of suffering from success. We get a close-up of him cracking open another can. He's fully embracing the gamer lifestyle, but you can tell he's bored out of his mind. Seok leans back in his chair, looking at his computer screen with a look of pure apathy. He's questioning if he really needs to save the world again just because he did it once before. Huge text boxes tell us his initial confidence didn't last very long. The comforts of modern life are a hell of a drug compared to a life of constant battle. He reaches for his phone, marveling at a system where you can do anything with just one touch. No more trekking through dangerous forests just to get a meal. He's scrolling through a delivery app, thinking about what to order. He figures there are already plenty of other hunters out there to handle the world-saving business. Reality check. His bank account shows a measly 3,201. It turns out the original owner of this body lost his job at a logistics company after a corrosion rift bankrupted the business. Seok is slumped over in despair as he realizes his severance pay has completely run out. He's tried finding a normal job, but he's basically unhireable in this economy. He knows companies are shutting down left and right because of the constant monster rifts. He gives a frustrated smirk, realizing he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. He stares out the window, wondering what he's supposed to do to survive in modern society. Even for a legendary hero, capitalism is the final boss. Suddenly, a hunter recruitment notification pops up on his phone. His eye glows. That familiar amber color looks like duty is calling, whether he likes it or not. He stands in front of the massive Hunter Association building. He's thinking he does have experience in this line of work, which is the understatement of the century. Inside, the lobby is packed with hopeful recruits. Some guy is shouting about how he's definitely going to be a hunter, looking way too excited for a life-threatening career. A couple of men in suits are chatting about how the selection test is just a formality now. Apparently, as long as you have a unique skill, you're practically guaranteed a spot. We see a grayscale shot of the crowd, with one guy looking totally unimpressed. He calls all the new recruits a bunch of small fries, and he's probably right. A woman with long black hair and a business suit walks through the crowd. She's giving off some serious "don't mess with me" energy. The guy who was complaining suddenly looks terrified. He's sweating buckets as he realizes who just walked past him. He shouts out, completely shocked, that it's Lee Se-yoon. It looks like a legitimate celebrity just entered the building. Lee Se-yoon walks through the path that opens for her, looking stone cold. A text box reveals she's a rank 10 hunter from the Janabi Guild. The recruits are gossiping about her, shocked that someone of her level is here. They thought she was off subjugating a corrosion rift, not scouting rookies. Se-yoon is checking a tablet showing a profile for Han Sang-ah. It seems she's looking for a specific type of talent today. One of the scouts suggests that Sang-ah's electricity ability could be used for charging batteries. Se-yoon isn't amused, reminding him that she's looking for a hunter, not a generator. Se-yoon and the scout sit in the stands discussing if Sang-ah is actually useful. Se-yoon seems doubtful, looking down at the arena with a bored expression. A guy with glasses gets a jump scare when Se-yoon reminds him that hunting is real combat, not a game. He looks like he's never even held a sword before. A red-haired guy tries to butter her up with some candy while they watch the recruits. Se-yoon just takes it, her focus still on the quality of the candidates. We get a grim montage of what real combat looks like, monsters tearing into people. It's a harsh reminder that for these students, practice and reality are worlds apart. The announcer's voice booms through the stadium, thanking the hunters for their patience. He announces that they will now begin the first match. Se-yoon sits back with her pipe, looking totally disinterested. She tells herself that these rookies need to raise their value if they want her to take them. The announcer with the spiky hair and red headset spots something quite interesting. He's looking at a candidate who stands out from the rest. He notes that this candidate is a civilian who didn't even attend a hunter academy. We see a hand reaching for a training spear on a rack. Hyun Seok's hand grips the spear tightly. The announcer calls this move unprecedented for someone with no formal training. We see Hyun Seok from behind as he walks onto the stage. The announcer is wondering what kind of guts this guy has to stand there among the elite students. The announcer introduces candidate Yoo Chan Seok to the roaring crowd. Hyun Seok is still thinking about how he isn't used to this name yet. The rules of the match are laid out. Only association-provided weapons are allowed, and no life-threatening injuries. It's a bit too sanitized for our MC's taste. Hyun Seok's gaze is cold and focused. He's determined to save this world, but he's also thinking about the fact that he needs to eat well. His opponent is a blonde, spiky-haired guy who looks incredibly smug. He's already calling Hyun Seok unbelievable, and not in a good way. The two fighters take their positions in the massive, high-tech arena. The announcer yells for them to start the fight. The blonde guy doesn't waste any time and lunges forward with his spear. He's moving fast, trying to end the match before it even begins. The opponent unleashes a fiery attack, laughing that Hyun Seok can't even gather mana. He's clearly underestimating the man who has spent 20 years in hell. Hyun Seok stands his ground, looking completely bored. He tells the guy to consider it an honor to lose to him. The blonde guy keeps trash-talking, claiming he's the undefeated spearmaster of the academy while thrusting his flaming spear. He thinks he's got this in the bag. We get a close-up of Hyun Seok's eye. He's tracking the move with zero panic, just cold calculation. Hyun Seok dodges the thrust and slams his own spear into the ground with a loud thud. The opponent is completely bewildered, staring at the empty space where Hyun Seok was a second ago. He has no idea what just happened. He spins around, looking frantic. He can't believe his opponent just vanished into thin air. Hyun Seok is right behind him, calm as can be. He gives the guy a blunt critique, telling him he's pretty clumsy with that spear. Hyun Seok delivers a powerful palm strike right into the guy's chest. He didn't even need to use his weapon for this. The blonde guy's feet skid across the ground as the force of the blow sends him flying. Talk about a power gap. The impact is massive, and the opponent is sent tumbling backward like a ragdoll. Hyun Seok didn't even use his full strength. We see the guy's face as he's launched back. He's completely stunned, spit flying from his mouth. He never saw it coming. The opponent hits the ground hard, completely out of it. Hyun Seok thinks to himself that using his bare hands was actually him being nice. He looks at his hand, disappointed. He can't believe this is the average level for hunters on Earth. Up in the stands, Se-yoon is watching with a serious expression. She's finally noticed that there's something very different about this civilian. The scouts are checking Hyun Seok's profile on their tablets. They're baffled that a former logistics worker has almost no mana in his body. The guy in shades is trying to rationalize it, saying he must have been lucky if he generated that much power without mana. Se-yoon isn't buying it. We get a close-up of hands holding a small piece of candy. Se-yoon is just casually snacking while everyone else is panicking. Se-yoon tells the scout to shut up, explaining the truth. That guy is intentionally not accumulating mana. She's the only one who sees his true skill. Back on the arena floor, Hyun Seok is scratching his neck, looking bored. He decides he should probably just finish this decisively and get it over with. The blonde guy is gasping for air on the floor, stammering and asking how this is possible. He's completely broken. Hyun Seok goes in for the final hit, assuring the guy it won't be a fatal wound. That's some cold efficiency right there. The opponent looks up in total terror as the strike comes down. He knows it's game over. He's flat on his face, unconscious and drooling. Hyun Seok really didn't break a sweat. The announcer declares the winner, candidate Yoo Chan Seok. In the stands, the scouts are already starting to buzz about him. We get a close-up of Se-yoon's eye. She's looking at him with the focus of a predator that's found a very interesting new prey. A group of people in the crowd are staring in absolute shock. They can't believe what they just witnessed. Se-yoon stands up, looking ready for action. She tells the scout she wants to see Hyun Seok's real skills for herself. She walks away, telling him she needs to go see the association president. She's clearly planning something big for our MC. In a quick montage, we see Hyun Seok effortlessly taking out another opponent. He's wondering why everyone is so weak, even for rookies. He punches another guy in the gut, completely unimpressed. He's literally asking himself what on earth they teach at Hunter Academy. The opponent gets launched into the air by a simple strike. Hyun Seok is just breezing through the tournament. He looks around at the fallen students, muttering about how there isn't a single decent one among them. He's looking for a challenge that Earth just isn't providing yet. We see a close-up of some gray, messy hair. Someone new is entering the arena. The guys in the crowd are getting hyped up. One of them comments on how pretty she is as she steps into view. Han Sang-ah walks onto the field for the grand finale. The crowd is wondering if she's the one who will finally stop this mysterious super rookie. Hyun Seok notices her and thinks that she's at least a little something. He can finally sense someone with a bit of potential. We get a shot of Sang-ah panting, looking determined. Hyun Seok notes that she's gathered the most mana out of everyone he's seen today. Sang-ah starts trash-talking immediately, claiming Hyun Seok only got this far by luck and flukes. He asks her if generic lines are all they teach at the academy. She reaches for the giant sword strapped to her back. She tells him that since he's only throwing punches, he must not have a unique skill. She gives a menacing look, her eyes glowing with green lightning. She warns him that she won't be going easy on him just because he's a rookie. Hyun Seok just stares at her, thinking to himself that he does have a unique skill. He's only holding back because he's afraid he'll actually kill her if he uses it. Sang-ah takes a deep breath and focuses her mana. She's getting ready to end this match in one strike. She gets into a low crouch and draws her blade in a flash of lightning. This is definitely not a beginner move. Hyun Seok reacts with surprise, realizing that the speed of her draw is actually quite impressive. The sparks are flying as the match finally kicks into high gear. There's a massive impact as their powers collide. Debris is flying everywhere from the sheer force of the exchange. Sang-ah looks absolutely stunned as the smoke clears. She clearly wasn't expecting her fastest move to be handled so easily. Hyun Seok is shown high in the air, having leaped over her lightning attack. His speed and reflexes are just on another level. Sang-ah is left staring up in shock. She can't believe he dodged her lightning just by jumping. Hyun Seok is analyzing her technique mid-air. He realizes she's running an electric current through the scabbard and blade to turn it into a literal railgun. He lands gracefully on the ground and tells her that while her skills are the best so far, she missed the most important thing. He's back to being the teacher. He stays in a low crouch, critiquing her for being too focused on just attacking quickly. He's completely in control of the conversation now. A text box explains Sang-ah's mistake. In order to accelerate the blade even faster, she did something that left her wide open. We see a silhouette of her laying down a magnetic rail in empty air. It's a powerful move, but it has a glaring flaw. Hyun Seok smirks, asking what kind of idiot would walk into an attack with a path in plain sight. He's completely dismantled her strategy. Sang-ah is fuming, shouting at him not to get cocky while gripping her sword hilt. She's not used to being lectured by a rookie. She charges forward with a massive burst of lightning, screaming that she can beat him without even using that specific technique. She's lost her cool. Hyun Seok dodges her strike with zero effort. He asks her flat out if she's an idiot, since he already proved he can dodge her fastest attack. Sang-ah's eyes are glowing with fury as she continues her reckless assault. She's completely blinded by her anger now. A massive explosion of green lightning fills the panel. Sang-ah is throwing everything she has into this one desperate strike. Hyun Seok leaps back, noting that she's overdoing it and her body is going to get wrecked if she continues. He's actually concerned for her safety now. He closes the distance in a blur and tells her that the move was cool, but it's time to stop. She's totally caught off guard by his sudden proximity. He gives her a smug grin and tells her that if it hurts, she should raise her left hand. He's about to deliver the finishing blow. Hyun Seok delivers a brutal strike right into her stomach. The impact is so hard it sends a shockwave through the air. Sang-ah screams in agony, spit flying from her mouth as she's doubled over from the hit. It looks like the match is finally over. We get a close-up of Hyun Seok's fist. He's not done yet, his muscles tensed for the next part of the combo. He unleashes a flurry of high-speed punches, pummeling her as she tries to recover. He's not giving her a single second to breathe. He winds up a massive final punch, his arm blurred with speed. This is going to be the literal knockout blow. There's a thunderous impact as Sang-ah is slammed into the arena floor. The ground literally cracks from the force of her fall. Sang-ah is shown unconscious on the ground, blood on her face and her eyes rolled back. She's completely out for the count. She slides across the pavement with a heavy thud, coming to a stop as a total mess. The mysterious rookie has officially dominated. The crowd is in absolute silence. They can't believe that a civilian just overwhelmed the top student of the academy like she was nothing. Hyun Seok stands over her, noting that while she's more skilled than the others, she relied too much on mana and neglected her physical training. It's a harsh lesson for a valedictorian. He gives a tired sigh, wondering if she's actually up for more. He's looking pretty bored again, which is just the ultimate insult. Suddenly, a hand reaches up into the air. Sang-ah isn't quite done yet, though she's clearly struggling to move. The announcer stands over her as she shakes on the floor. He looks totally confused by the whole situation. Hyun Seok realizes that she actually did exactly what he told her to do. She raised her hand because she was in pain. He looks a bit surprised by her tenacity. We see a high-angle shot of the arena as the match concludes. It's a quiet moment after the total chaos that just happened. The announcer lets out a loud exclamation of surprise, looking at his monitor. Something unexpected is happening with the tournament schedule. He shouts to the crowd that the schedule has been changed. This is definitely not how these events usually go. Hyun-seok looks confused, asking what the hell a break is and why it isn't over yet. He just wants his paycheck and a meal. A mysterious shadowy silhouette appears on the stadium's big screen. Whoever this is, they've clearly got a lot of influence. The guy with shades looks stressed, muttering that she went and did it. It seems Se-yoon has decided to take matters into her own hands. Hyun-seok looks at the crowd, hearing everyone getting hyped up for a special match. He's being watched with a whole new level of interest now. His eye glows with that amber light again. He's wondering if the rank 10 herself has stepped onto the stage to test his abilities. A massive sword slams into the arena floor with a thunderous crash and sparks fly. Talk about making a grand entrance. The dust clears as she apologizes for showing up without warning. She says there was no other way to confirm his skills. Lee Se-yoon is revealed, holding her giant blade. She officially introduces herself as a member of the Janabi Guild. She gives a confident look and challenges him directly, asking for a match with him. The stakes just went through the stratosphere. Hyun-seok has a bead of sweat on his face, internally geeking out because he's face-to-face with the top 10 world hunter. She's even offering him an out if it's too much. He stares her down, feeling that massive, chilling aura she's giving off. He admits to himself that in this body, it'll be a struggle even with a spear. But then, he gives that wide, confident smirk. He's lived through 20 years of hell. He's not about to back down from a little world-class pressure. He tells the announcer to start the match right now. The guy is practically shivering in his suit, completely shocked that anyone would be this eager to fight Se-yoon. Se-yoon is acting pretty casual, saying she hasn't even broken a sweat yet today. She looks genuinely curious to see what this kid is made of. As the last girl gets carried out on a stretcher, Hyun-seok realizes this is his best chance to prove his worth. He needs to get the best possible results from this tournament. We get a close-up of his foot kicking his spear up from the ground with a sharp tap. He's ready to dance. He catches his weapon and gets into a combat stance. He wonders if he should raise his value. Oh, he's about to break the power scaling. The arena is filled with the sound of metal clashing as the crowd watches in total silence. Hyun-seok is holding his own, but the pressure is clearly building. The announcer is sweating through his sunglasses, unable to believe the intensity of this match. Even he can feel the shockwaves from the center of the ring. Han Song-ah swings her blade with terrifying precision, her eyes locked on her target. She's not just fast, every strike carries enough weight to shatter bone. Hyun-seok manages to block a heavy overhead strike, his teeth bared in a desperate snarl. The sparks flying off their weapons show just how much power is being traded here. Hyun-seok is genuinely shocked by her physical strength, wondering how a human body can generate this much raw power. He's used to fighting monsters, but this girl is something else entirely. Sana follows up with a brutal low kick that sends Hyun-seok reeling. She's completely controlling the flow of the fight, leaving him no room to breathe. The impact sends Hyun-seok skidding across the arena floor, a trail of dust following his movement. Sang-ah stands her ground, her cape fluttering as she prepares for the next exchange. Sang-ah realizes her speed is starting to drop compared to the start of the match. She's breathing harder now, her eyes narrowed in frustration as the fight drags on. Hyun-seok is looking rough, with sweat and spit flying as he struggles to keep up. He can see openings in her defense, but his current body simply lacks the physical ability to exploit them. Sang-ah stops her assault for a second to taunt him, admitting she was hoping for a better warm-up. She didn't expect him to hold out for 30 minutes straight, but she asks if he's already tired. She plants her foot firmly on the ground, cracking the floorboards beneath her. She's done playing around and is ready to end this match decisively. She readies her massive blade, telling him she'll make it easy for him now. The aura around her weapon is getting significantly more intense. Hyun-seok clicks his tongue, realizing he's basically out of mana. To make matters worse, the atmosphere in the arena is almost completely devoid of magical energy he can tap into. He wipes sweat from his face with a tired sigh. He knows he's in a corner, but he still has one last trick up his sleeve. He decides he has no choice but to unleash it, the Paradox Flame. He lunges forward as the black energy starts to swirl around his body. His eyes glow with a fierce light as he calls out the name of his specialty. This isn't just a regular flame, it's something from a completely different world. Sang-ah's eyes widen in total shock as she sees the black energy manifesting. She's never seen an ability like this before, and it clearly catches her off guard. A massive explosion of black and white energy rocks the arena, sending debris flying everywhere. It looks like Hyun-seok just dropped a literal bomb. Sang-ah leaps back through the smoke, trying to gain some distance from the blast. She's completely bewildered by what just happened. She stares at Hyun-seok in disbelief, realizing he just dodged an attack that should have been impossible to avoid. She mutters his name, finally recognizing him as a real threat. Hyun-seok stands there with his clothes shredded, surrounded by an aura of flickering black flames. Even Sang-ah is left asking what that is. The black flames lick at his skin, but interestingly, they don't seem to be burning him at all. He explains that these are the Paradox Flames, his most trusted power. He gives a small smirk, admitting that this was his specialty back in the other world. It's the one power he trusts more than anything else. He points out that unlike normal fire, this black flame can't burn physical matter. You can see his clothes are shredded but not charred, proving his point. Chan Seok explains that these flames burn abstract concepts instead of matter. While he can't burn complex things like memory yet, he can burn simpler concepts to fuel himself. He charges forward with a massive burst of speed, his movements becoming a blur of motion lines. He's moving way faster than he was just seconds ago. Sang-ah is visibly rattled as she realizes he's suddenly gotten faster. She can barely keep track of his movements now. The concept he chose to burn right now is his own fatigue. By burning his exhaustion as fuel, he's basically refreshing his own body mid-fight. Sang-ah is sweating bullets, asking how he could have recovered in such a short time. He's essentially cheating the laws of biology right now. They clash again, their weapons meeting in a shower of sparks that looks more like an explosion. Chan Seok is now the one putting on the pressure. Sang-ah notices the mana concentration in the air is fluctuating wildly. She wonders if the arena settings are malfunctioning, or if it's something Chan Seok is doing. Chan Seok's internal monologue explains the secret. Just as normal fire releases heat, the paradox flame releases mana as it burns abstract concepts. We see a diagram of a body as he explains the cycle. He uses mana to ignite the flame, which burns his fatigue, which then generates more mana. It's an endless cycle. His boot slams into the ground as he prepares to continue the assault. He can literally do this all day. Sang-ah is forced onto the defensive, struggling to keep up with the now invigorated Chan Seok. The shadows on her face show she's starting to feel the pressure. The arena is torn up as Sang-ah struggles to find an opening. Chan Seok is relentless, his movements becoming more fluid as the fight continues. Sang-ah glares at him through the smoke, asking if he's really going to keep this up. She's clearly getting annoyed by his persistence. He keeps clinging to her, refusing to let her gain any momentum. It's like a persistent enemy that won't let go of your leg. He gives her a smug grin, admitting it's a war of attrition. He tells her flat out that he can still keep going. He laughs and asks her if she likes guys who don't know when to quit. He's fully leaning into the trash talk now. Sang-ah looks absolutely disgusted, giving him a flat no. She absolutely hates them. She's really not in the mood for jokes. A text box explains that even the paradox flame leaves behind residue, just like wood leaves ashes. Once everything is burned away until only ash remains, that's when the flame finally disappears. We see a clock showing they've been at it for over 4 hours. Talk about an endurance match. Chan Seok is flat on his back, looking completely spent and begging for mercy. Sang-ah stands over him with her sword, looking like she's ready to put him out of his misery. The announcer calls it, with candidate Yu Chan Seok's forfeit, Hunter Lee Se-yoon is the victor. Wait, Se-yoon? Did I miss a swap? Regardless, the crowd is stunned. Someone is unwrapping a swirl-patterned lollipop. It's a weirdly calm moment after 4 hours of combat. The suits in the audience are losing their minds over that lollipop. Apparently, it's more than just a sweet treat. Sang-ah hands the lollipop and her business card to a battered Chan Seok, telling him he did good work. She looks surprisingly friendly now that the fighting is over. Chan Seok looks at the card, Janabi LLC, Team 3 Partner Hunter. He's confused, wondering if Janabi is some kind of hunter agency. Sang-ah tells him they'll talk about the details later and tells him to give her a call. She gives him a little wave as she walks away. The announcer wraps up the trials and calls Chan Seok to the stage to receive his award. The massive stadium is still buzzing from the show he put on. Chan Seok bites down hard on the lollipop, shattering it into pieces. He's definitely got some mixed feelings about how things ended. He's checking out his new hunter license on his smartphone. He's impressed by the tech, recalling how they used to just give out pieces of paper back in his day. He muses about how the phone really has everything a hunter needs nowadays. Suddenly, someone calls out his name, asking if he is Hunter Yu Chan Seok. He looks up to find a massive, muscular guy with long black hair looming over him. This dude looks way more intimidating in person than on camera. The giant introduces himself as Yoon Song-hyun and hands over his business card. He's so tall, Chan Seok barely reaches his chest. Chan Seok checks the card. Yoon Song-hyun, Partner Hunter, Taebaek LLC. The guy gets straight to the point and invites Chan Seok to join his team. Song-hyun gives a wide, slightly creepy grin, telling Chan Seok he'll definitely shine under him. Chan Seok thinks the guy doesn't seem to be lying, but something feels off. We get a quick flashback of Sang-ah's smiling face and her business card. Chan Seok is clearly weighing his options. He tells Seong-hyun he has a prior engagement and needs to think about it before making a decision. He's playing hard to get while tucking the cards away. Song-hyun laughs it off, saying he wasn't expecting an answer right then and there, but his expression tells a different story. He places a heavy hand on Chan Seok's shoulder with a menacing tone. The atmosphere just got a lot more tense. Seong-hyun leans in close, his face right in Chan Seok's. He tells him that he better think this through properly. Yeah, that's definitely a threat. The big guy walks away with a casual, "See you around," leaving Chan Seok standing there in silence. He's not used to being talked to like that. John Seok looks completely done, thinking to himself that he's definitely skipping Taebek. Can't say I blame him. He pulls out his phone and makes a call. He confirms his identity to Lee Se-yoon and asks where he should come. He's made his choice. Se-yoon tells him she's at the hut on the second floor of the Hunter Association building. John Seok looks a bit skeptical about the location. He arrives at the entrance of a cafe literally named The Hut. He's still questioning the name choice. A cute waitress in a beret welcomes him to the cafe with a bright smile. This place is way too cheerful for his current mood. Se-yoon is already there, waving him over to a table. She's even got a fancy dessert waiting. The girl clearly has a sweet tooth. John Seok sits down, still thinking about how unusual the cafe's name is. He asks Se-yoon if something happened while they were waiting. He tells her about the really huge guy who tried to recruit him for a guild. He looks pretty bothered by the whole encounter. Se-yoon explains that since Yoon Song-hyun showed interest, other guilds probably wouldn't even dare to make an offer. That guy clearly has a lot of pull in the hunter world. John Seok asks if that means the same for her guild, Janabi. He's giving her a piercing look, trying to see where he stands. Se-yoon calmly takes a bite of her ice cream and tells him she has no intention of recruiting him. John Seok is totally thrown off, asking what she means by that. She suggests he work as a freelancer, instead of being affiliated with a guild. John Seok looks thoughtful, realizing he doesn't necessarily have to belong to a group. She points out that Sung Hyun was probably only going to offer him a junior position. John Seok looks confused by the terminology. He asks what a junior and a partner hunter are. He reminds her that he didn't go to the Hunter Academy, so he's totally out of the loop. Se-yoon uses a pyramid diagram to explain the ranks: junior at the bottom, senior in the middle, and partner at the top. It's a classic corporate structure, but for people who kill monsters. She explains that juniors and seniors are basically salaried employees of the guild. It's a stable job, but not very exciting. Partners, however, have shares in the guild instead of a salary. They share the net profits, which Se-yoon compares to being a business owner. John Seok notes that it sounds exactly like a law firm. Se-yoon confirms that the hunter who first established the guilds actually used law firms as a model. She tells him he doesn't have to go through the junior and senior ranks to become a partner hunter. There's a shortcut if you're good enough. John Seok gets it. If he becomes famous and gets respectable results, the guilds will automatically come looking for him. He gives a confident smirk, liking this plan. Se-yoon gives him a piece of candy and agrees enthusiastically. John Seok is still wondering why this girl keeps giving him sweets. He realizes that without connections or experience, it'll be hard for him to get any proper requests as a freelancer. He looks a bit worried about the practical side of things. Se-yoon offers to help him with that free of charge. She's looking very helpful and reliable right now. John Seok doesn't understand why she'd do so much for him. He looks suspicious, suspecting there's a catch. Se-yoon admits she's basically putting him in her debt so that in the future he'll think of Janabi when he's looking for a guild. She's playing the long game. She slides a brown envelope across the table, asking if he wants to take a look at a specific request. She tells him it's his choice whether he does it or not. Chun Seok opens the envelope and finds a request from Incheon City about a place called Gyeodongdo Island. Apparently, a corrosion rift formed there 2 years ago after a failed elimination attempt. He looks at the document and asks if he just has to go get rid of the rift. Se-yoon corrects him. He'll be patrolling the island to see if any additional rifts appeared and clearing those out too. The mission starts in 1 month. Chun Seok is shocked when he sees the pay. 5 million won up front and an additional 15 million upon success. That's a lot of money for a civilian. He drops the papers, realizing that considering the life-threatening nature of the job, the pay isn't actually that great. He's starting to see the reality of the business. Se-yoon gives him a wide, slightly crazy grin and tells him if it feels unfair, he should just get stronger and more famous. Money will flow into his pockets even if they're full. Words to live by. She leans in and asks for his final answer. Chun Seok's face is hidden in shadow as he considers the offer. We get a close-up of his mouth as he starts to make his decision. The suspense is killing me. We see 2 black SUVs driving across a massive bridge. The conversation continues from inside one of the cars. Se-yoon is sitting in the back seat discussing Chun Seok with her team. She mentions he's a civilian who cleared a weapons mandatory tournament with his bare hands and calls him not bad. One of her men disagrees, saying, "Not bad" isn't the right phrase. He points out that Chun Seok lasted 4 whole hours against Se-yoon. Another man asks if that's only because she limited her power. He claims he's a veteran hunter with 10 years of experience, seemingly doubting Chun Seok's skill. Se-yoon looks out the car window, recalling how all of her own experience was built upon surviving hellish places. She admits that normally she should have been able to toy with him, but he held out for 4 hours. She looks up at the sky and thinks to herself that even if she were reborn, she doubts she'd ever see another monster like him. That's high praise coming from a world-ranked hunter. The scene shifts to Incheon City, Gyeodongdo Island. We see a shot of the coastline under a clear sky. Groups of people are gathered on a beach with several boats nearby. The text says that no matter how highly she rates him, the mission is still dangerous. Two hunters are talking on a boat, noting that the mission specifically requested hunters with prior mission experience. They seem a bit skeptical about something. One hunter looks particularly unimpressed, wondering if the rookie will be able to hold his weight teaming up with veteran hunters. He's clearly not a fan of newcomers. A hand grips the hilt of a sword as a voice tells the boss not to worry. Looks like someone is ready to prove their worth. Seyun is pairing Chun-seok up with Sanga, whom she calls reliable. Her teammate admits she's the brains of the operation at Janabi and trusts her judgment. When asked what Chun-seok will be like once he reaches her level, Seyun gets a mysterious look. She warns her teammate that they might not like the answer. We see a silhouette of Chun-seok walking away, spear in hand. The atmosphere is heavy with anticipation for his next move. Seyun drops the final bombshell. If he ever reaches her level, he'll be able to take down the guild boss himself. He looks absolutely lethal in his combat gear, ready to take on the world. We jump back to 1 month ago. A delivery guy is hauling a massive case down the hall, trying to find apartment 56. He rings the bell and complains about the wait. Whatever Chun-seok ordered, it's clearly some heavy-duty gear. Chun-seok hears the guy outside and mutters that it's here. Looks like he's been waiting for this specific delivery to start his prep. The door creaks open as he steps out to claim his prize. He's got that look of a man who's about to unbox something legendary. He sits on the floor staring at the long black tactical case. He can't believe how long the thing actually is, which usually means a top-tier weapon is inside. We get a close-up of the latches clicking open with a satisfying clack. The anticipation is building for the reveal. His amber eye glows with intensity as he looks at the contents. He's definitely feeling the power radiating from the box. He pulls out a sleek training spear, testing the weight. He's satisfied with the quality and thinks this spear should be fine for his training. Then he pulls out a glowing green bottle labeled Elixir. These are basically mana batteries for hunters to use in emergencies. He breaks down how mana usually works, comparing it to drinking from a water purifier. Most hunters store it in their body, but it takes time to process. But our boy is built different. He skips the storage phase and absorbs mana directly from the atmosphere as he needs it. The advantage? He literally has no limit since he's tapping into the air around him. Talk about an infinite mana cheat code. The process of drawing it in actually strengthens his mana channels over time. He's basically leveling up his hardware while he fights. He pops the cork with a soft pop. He notes that since he doesn't have time to wait, it's best to store some mana in advance for high output. He stands on the balcony with the elixir, looking out at the city. He figures a month of training with this should give him the growth he needs. We cut to the present day at Incheon, Gyeodongdo Island. It looks peaceful from above, but we know rifts are never a good sign. A massive crowd of hunters is gathered at the docks, and the place is buzzing with nervous energy. Everyone's talking over each other as they wait for orders. Chun-seok holds up his phone to scan a QR code with a beep. Welcome to modern hunting, even monster slaying has a digital check-in. The staff member confirms his identity. He tells Chun-seok he's officially been assigned to Squad 8. We see a sign marked with a big number 8 fluttering in the wind. This is where the squad gathers before the mission kicks off. Chun-seok stands in the crowd as other hunters grumble about the pay and how scared they are. It's pretty clear he's surrounded by rookies who aren't ready for a real fight. Suddenly, Chun-seok's eyes widen as he senses someone approaching. He recognizes the mana signature immediately. It's Han Sang-ah. She notices his hair has finally settled down and teases him about the static electricity from their first match. She's pumped that they're in the same squad and suggests they work together. Chun-seok just gives her the cold shoulder, asking why he should. He sarcastically adds that since she's stronger, he'll just watch and learn from her. Sang-ah looks like she's about to blow a fuse. She complains about her shoulder dislocating and thinks this kid has absolutely no sense of humor. They definitely have some weird chemistry. The briefing officially starts. An officer calls for their attention. The mood shifts as the officer with glasses takes the podium. Squad 8 huddles up on the deck as the briefing begins. This is where they get the lowdown on the island situation. Chun-seok and Sang-ah listen as the officer mentions explaining terminology for the first-timers. Chun-seok's looking pretty serious now. We get a diagram of corrosion rift classes, from class 3 up to unclassified. The closer the rift is to class 1, the more dangerous the monsters are. The target is a church in the north. It's an unclassified rift, but those are known to get stronger over time if left alone. The mission is to patrol the village and eliminate any additional rifts that might have popped up. Basically, it's a search and destroy op. Some of the other hunters are already complaining about having a rookie on an elimination mission. They really have no idea who they're talking about. The ship arrives at the island under a clear blue sky. It looks scenic, but the silhouettes of the hunters show the tension is rising. Chun-seok can feel the chilling energy even from the docks. He mutters that it feels like his blood is turning cold. That's a bad sign. The hunters land on the wooden pier with a heavy thud. A red device beeps loudly, signaling a nearby rift. We get a close-up of the tracker in a hunter's hand. The insistent sound means the monsters are close. The team huddles for a final briefing. They're told to contact the offshore control room if things get messy. The officer wishes the hunters all the best. This is usually the part in the movie where things go south immediately. Chun Seok takes the initiative and suggests a scouting plan for the week. The other hunters just stare at him like he's crazy for giving orders. One hunter is visibly confused, questioning the plan. They aren't used to a rookie acting like a squad leader. Chun Seok shows them a map on his phone, suggesting they set up at the temple for a better tactical view. The man knows his military strategy. The veteran hunter loses his cool, asking who Chun Seok thinks he is. He's offended that a rookie is trying to run the show. Chun Seok explains the logic. The temple provides lodging and a perfect vantage point of the surrounding valley. It's common sense, but these guys are too stubborn to listen. The other hunter laughs him off, saying they'll just get surrounded if they climb a mountain. He thinks the town is safer. Chun Seok realizes he's dealing with idiots who defy logic. He's seen this 1,000 times in the other world and he's done with it. He decides to just ditch them, suggesting they just act separately. He's better off solo than with dead weight. He leaps into the forest with a sharp movement, leaving the arguing group behind. Solo queue starts now. Surprisingly, a few people actually follow him through the trees. He hears the sound of footsteps behind him. He notices one guy in particular, Kim Min-jae, who has slightly higher mana than Sana. Looks like he found a teammate with actual talent. Min-jae stops as Chun Seok catches him. Chun Seok is curious why the guy bothered to follow them. Min-jae admitted he was worried about letting two rookies run off on their own. Chun Seok is relieved there's at least one decent person in this group. Suddenly, Chun Seok senses something dangerous ahead. He stops dead with a sharp intake of breath. He skids to a stop, holding up his hand to signal the others. His veteran instincts are screaming. Min-jae and Song-ah stop behind him looking concerned. Chun Seok tells them to wait as he scans the area. He tells them to be quiet and peek over the edge. He's being careful not to alert whatever is lurking down there. Min-jae peeks around a rock and his eyes go wide. He's completely shocked by what he sees. The valley below is crawling with a massive horde of goblins. It's a literal sea of monsters. Min-jae is terrified and suggests they take a detour. He thinks there are at least 50 of them, way too many for a head-on fight. Chun Seok tells him to calm down and asks what his unique skill is. Min-jae is stunned that he's actually thinking about fighting them. Chun Seok looks him dead in the eye, asking again about his skill. He thinks it's only natural for a hunter to fight the creatures they came here for. Min-jae reveals his skill, Fireball. It's basic, but in the right hands, it's devastating. Chun Seok says that's good and tells him to attack first on his signal. Min-jae can't believe he's being told to lead the charge against 50 monsters. He looks at Song-ah, but she's already geared up and ready to go. Min-jae is the only one still hesitating. He argues that it's reckless for only 3 of them, especially since it's their first mission. He's really not feeling the hero vibe. Chun Seok points out that by the time they radio for help, the monsters will have already scattered. They have to deal with it now. He shows a map. The other hunters are searching along the coast while they're deep inland. They are truly on their own. If the monsters scatter, they become a threat to everyone else on the island. Chun Seok is thinking about the bigger picture. Min-jae realizes the kid is right. He gives a serious nod, finally accepting that they have no other choice but to fight. He thinks about the earlier conflict with the other hunters. He knows those guys won't come to help even if they hear the noise. Chun Seok says the only way to win this is with a surprise attack. He's already formulating a strategy in his head. He draws a tactical diagram in the dirt with his spear. He tells Min-jae to hit the center with a fireball while he blocks the flanks. Min-jae is blown away by how detailed the strategy is. He's starting to realize this rookie is anything but ordinary. He wonders who in the world this guy is. Min-jae is having a total main character realization moment. The goblins are prowling through the tall grass with a soft rustle. They have no idea what's about to hit them. Chun Seok gives the signal, and Min-jae leaps out and launches a massive fireball. It's go time. The fireball connects with a huge explosion. One of the goblins gets absolutely blasted. A massive explosion rocks the clearing. The goblins let out confused and terrified screams as they're caught in the blast. More monsters scream in agony as the fire spreads. The surprise attack worked perfectly. Min-jae gasps for air, saying he needs a moment to recharge. Chun Seok just tells him to shoot again as soon as he's ready. Min-jae gives a determined confirmation. He's fully locked into the plan now. Chun Seok charges into the smoke at high speed. He's moving like a blur through the battlefield. We get a close-up of his intense eyes as he closes the distance. He's looking for the most efficient way to clear the remaining monsters. He dives into the fray, spinning his spear to keep the goblins at bay. He's prioritizing efficiency and dividing the enemies to make them manageable. A goblin lunges from the smoke with its mouth wide open. Chun Seok just waits for the perfect moment to strike. With a sharp slash, he carves through 3 goblins in a single arc. He's making sure none of them get near Min-jae. He slashes another goblin as it lets out a dying shriek. He's a total one-man army. We see a close-up of his calm, focused face. He thinks that's why dividing the roles is so important for success. Han-sana joins the fight with a sharp sound as she draws her sword. It's time for the tag team finish. She slashes through 2 goblins with a powerful swing. She's really showing off that valedictorian skill now. Sang-ah takes a quick breather. She's holding her own perfectly alongside Chan Seok. The forest glows with fire as Min-jae yells that he's ready for the next one. He's got another big fireball charged up. Chan Seok gives a wide smirk. He tells him to get out of the way and shoot. He's trusting his teammate to end this. Min-jae launches a massive fireball into the air. It looks like a miniature sun falling on the monsters. The explosion is massive. A giant blast shakes the entire valley, taking out the remaining horde. Chan Seok lands gracefully and plants his spear in the dirt with a thud. The fight is finally over. Chan Seok peeks from behind a tree, sensing something is still wrong. Suddenly, a voice screams to kill them both. A massive thud rocks the area as something incredibly heavy slams into the ground nearby. We get a close-up of a massive metallic object embedded in the grass. This definitely wasn't one of the goblins. Chan Seok stands in the clearing as the smoke clears, looking like a true veteran warrior. He's scanning for the source of the attack. He starts to say they did a good job, but he's cut off by the sound of a gun cocking. His face goes totally flat. The betrayal is real. Kim Min-jae is pointing a handgun directly at Chan Seok's head. Chan Seok just stares back in disbelief, questioning him. Min-jae flashes a nervous smile, sweating as he asks someone to just step aside for a second. Talk about an awkward way to start a conversation. He's totally panicking internally, wondering why the heck Chan Seok just pulled out a strap. He really thought he was about to get a bullet to the head, yikes. Suddenly, a metallic device is fired with a sharp pneumatic sound. Looks like it wasn't a gun after all, but something way more specialized. Chan Seok and Sang-ah watch as Min-jae works on a monster corpse, asking if he's implanting some kind of microchip. Min-jae explains that once the area is secured, junk dealers will come by to collect the remains. Chan Seok is surprised by the term junk dealers, really? Min-jae points out it's way too hard for hunters to haul around those bulky, heavy monster parts themselves. He explains the process. They tag the corpses with these chips so the junk dealers can come by in their trucks after the mission. They collect anything that looks like it could be valuable. We get a cute little infographic showing the flow. Collect the items, appraise them, sell them, and then split the profits. The junk dealers take a commission, and the rest goes straight into the hunter's pocket. Chan Seok isn't quite sold, asking if these guys can even be trusted. Min-jae admits that finding a reliable dealer and getting a solid contract is the most important part of the gig. Min-jae starts fanboying over Chan Seok's performance, stunned that they handled 50 monsters. But the mood shifts instantly as Chan Seok senses something dangerous approaching. A massive demonic monster slams down right between them with a thunderous crash. The impact is so powerful, it literally craters the ground. Chan Seok quickly checks if the others are okay after being thrown back by the shockwave. He's always on high alert for his teammates, even the ones he's not sure about yet. Sang-ah and Min-jae look up in total horror, wondering what kind of nightmare is showing up now. It's like the boss music just started playing. We get a close-up of the beast's gnashing teeth. That thing definitely hasn't seen a dentist in centuries. It's growling with pure malice. Chan Seok narrows his eyes, already analyzing the new threat. He's got that "I've seen this before" look on his face. The monster stands tall, revealing massive bat wings and glowing red eyes. Chan Seok identifies it as some kind of mid-boss. Great, just what they needed. He mutters in frustration, knowing this is going to be a real struggle. This thing is way above the small fries they were just dealing with. The creature lets out a low, menacing growl as it looms over them. Chan Seok wonders if this thing is actually the leader of the pack they just wiped out. He can feel the overwhelming mana radiating off the creature, noting it's on a completely different level. He tells the others to stay back and not to interfere. He's taking this one solo. Min-jae is panicking, arguing that they'll never escape if it stays 3v1. He wants to buy some time with a pincer attack and then fall back to report. Chan Seok isn't having it and screams at them to shut up and get back. He asks if they seriously want to go home in a body bag, talk about a reality check. Min-jae and Sang-ah are completely stunned by his sudden intensity. They've never seen him this fired up before. He readies his spear, thinking it's actually better if he handles this alone. That way, he can go wild with the paradox flame without having to worry about hitting his own teammates. He gives the beast a smug grin, taunting it by calling it a bat bastard. He's really leaning into that main character energy right now. They clash in a massive collision that shakes the entire forest with a huge impact. The fight is officially on. Sang-ah and Min-jae watch from the sidelines, looking worried sick. Sang-ah even thinks Chan Seok looks like he's actually in some serious trouble. Min-jae is a bit more observant, telling her there's no need to worry. He points out the crazy part. Chan Seok hasn't been hit a single time yet. Chan Seok is performing some insane mid-air acrobatics, easily dodging a massive swipe from the bat monster. The guy's agility is just unreal. Sang-ah is completely mesmerized by his technique. She realized there's something way more complex going on than just simple dodging. He's dodging and counterattacking at the same time, making moves that Sang-ah admitted she'd struggle just to avoid. He's totally in the zone. Then she notices the black flames appearing every time his spear connects. She's left wondering what in the world that power could even be. As he ramps up the output of the paradox flame, the monster starts getting visibly slower. It's like it's being bogged down by the flames themselves. Chan-seok is just grinning now, basically toying with the mid-boss. He's completely flipped the script on this encounter. Sang-ah is having a full-on identity crisis, wondering how it's even possible for a rookie like her to be this strong. She's seeing a level of combat she didn't even know existed. He lands a heavy blow on the monster's chest with a loud crash, sending the beast flying back. Chan-seok skids across the ground with a sharp sound, perfectly maintaining his balance. He's not giving the monster a single second to recover. He grips his spear with both hands, ready to end this charade once and for all. The focus in his eyes is terrifying. With a powerful swing, he hurls his spear like a javelin through the air. That's a bold move, giving up his main weapon. Min-jae and Sang-ah are absolutely flabbergasted, screaming about the spear. They can't believe what they just saw. The monster is still up and snarling, so Min-jae yells out a warning. He thinks Chan-seok just made a massive tactical error. We get a terrifying close-up of the monster's face just as the spear is about to connect. It looks like it realized too late that it's done for. Impact. A huge burst of black flames erupts from the monster's head as the spear finds its mark. The beast is slammed into the ground with a massive thud. It looks like it's finally down for the count. Chan-seok calmly walks towards the fallen monster, impressed that it can still move after he's burned through all of its strength. It's got some serious tenacity. His eyes glow with a cold light as he decides it's time to finish it off for good. No more games. The other two are just standing there speechless, looking at the devastation. They've never seen anything like this. Min-jae is totally bewildered, noting how it looked like Chan-seok was being pushed back, but in reality, he was just toying with the monster. The realization is hitting him hard. Chan-seok snaps Min-jae out of it by calling his name. Min-jae responds with a startled yes, looking like he just met his hero. Min-jae starts questioning if it's normal for a monster this strong to show up on this island. He suspects the corrosion rift might be at least a grade 3. Chan-seok recalls the pre-mission briefing stating the rift was unclassified. If things have escalated this much, the situation is way worse than they thought. They stand over the monster's body as the weight of the situation sets in. They realize a grade 3 could mean disaster. Chan-seok tells them to think about it rationally. If it's not a grade 3, there's no other way to explain a mid-boss showing up like this. Min-jae is starting to panic, shouting that the difference between unclassified and grade 3 is like night and day. He's really feeling the pressure now. Min-jae begs Chan-seok to help save the other hunters before it's too late. He sees Chan-seok as their only hope, but Chan-seok gives him a cold rejection. He's not here to be a superhero. He asks why he should be expected to save every hunter on the island, reminding them that he has his own limits. He's being brutally honest about his own situation. He points out that their mission is to identify and eliminate rifts, not to rescue people in peril. He tells them they can't expect everyone to survive this kind of work. Chan-seok turns to Sang-ah and asks her a pointed question about what she would do in that situation. He's really testing her mindset. Sang-ah is confused and asks what he means. She's not ready for this philosophical debate in the middle of a war zone. He asks if she wouldn't beg to be saved and feel it's unfair if she were the one in danger. He's asking why he should naturally feel compassion just because people are suffering. We get a glimpse of Chan-seok's past life, looking battered and surrounded by fire. He states the harsh truth. In this world, some deaths are just unavoidable. He describes the brutal reality of facing death. When it happens, no matter what you think or feel, you just die. That's some heavy trauma speaking right there. He warns them not to be swayed by a desperate situation. He's trying to drill survival instincts into them. The scene shifts to a quiet temple or lodge at night. He tells them they won't survive long with a savior mindset. Someone steps onto the wooden porch with a soft thud. They're being extra careful in the dark. They confirm the building is fine, and there are no signs of other corrupted beings. It seems they found a temporary safe house. Min-jae asks Chan-seok if he can see anything. Chan-seok replies it's too dark to see anything special, looking totally unfazed as usual. They look out from the lodge, noticing they can see the locations of other hunters thanks to their lights. It's a double-edged sword. Chan-seok warns that using lights like that is incredibly dangerous because it reveals your exact position to the monsters. He's thinking 2 steps ahead. He notes that for small fries, it might not matter, but if another mid-boss shows up, they're sitting ducks. He's clearly worried about the others, despite what he said earlier. He decides to at least send a warning message to everyone. He's not going to save them personally, but he won't let them walk blindly into a trap either. The message warns everyone that the Alpha Rift might have hit grade 3 and begs them to stop using lights recklessly. It's a good luck, you're on your own, kind of deal. Chan-seok draws a circle in the dirt with the butt of his spear. He begins to formulate a plan. He asks if destroying the core of the corrosion rift will make all the corrupted beings disappear. Min-jae confirms it. Without the energy from the rift, the corrupted zone vanishes. Chan-seok ponders this for a second with a thoughtful hum. He realizes that makes everything much simpler. He decides he'll just go and destroy the corrosion rift core himself. He's basically taking the most direct, dangerous path. Sangha is shown, perhaps staying behind to rest or keep watch. She looks deep in thought after Chanseok's lecture. Minjae looks exhausted, his shoulders slumped. This mission has already taken a huge toll on him. Chanseok pulls out a small device and sets it down gently. He's taking extra precautions. He mentions that the device will sound an alarm if a monster gets close, so the others should be able to rest without worrying. He's actually being pretty considerate for a cold guy. Chanseok is running through the dark forest at top speed. He's heading straight for the Alpha Rift. He's confident that everything is going smoothly so far. He's already confirmed the location, and he's moving fast. Suddenly, his amber eyes widen in shock. He sensed something he definitely wasn't expecting. He stops in front of an old door that's creaking open with a spooky sound. The atmosphere just took a hard turn into a horror movie. Purple energy starts crackling around his hand as he hears a voice ask if it's him again. It seems he's run into someone or something he's met before. Chanseok looks absolutely grim in profile. The stakes just got raised through the roof. We get a close-up of his glowing amber eye, reflecting the mysterious purple light. He's ready for a fight, but he's also wary. He stands before a massive, shadowy figure with a glowing purple face that looks almost like a mask. He thinks to himself that he hasn't seen that face before. This is going to be insane. We're at the island control room and things are looking grim. They've lost the signals from Team 5, and everyone is assuming they're already dead. One of the operators reports that the monsters aren't just mindless beasts anymore. They're moving in an organized fashion. They've already confirmed one casualty from Team 3. The manager is losing his mind. How is a mere unclassified rift causing this much chaos? Something is definitely wrong here. Full-blown emergency mode activated. He orders his team to activate the emergency network and get every hunter in the vicinity on the line immediately. Just when they thought it couldn't get crazier, an operator spots someone heading straight into the Alpha Corrosion Rift. The manager is absolutely floored. The boss wants to know who this suicidal madman is and demands they be stopped before they're shredded. Then, he sees the name on his screen. It's our boy Yu Chen Seok from Team 8. Not only is he charging in, but he's also the first person to realize the rift actually leveled up. The command center is scrambling to see if he's even still alive. A rift upgrade like this is completely unheard of, and Chanseok is heading right for the source. They finally get a connection, and the first thing they hear is a very loud, very stressed curse from Chanseok. Yeah, sounds like he's having a great time. Chanseok is struggling big time. This thing is moving way faster than he predicted, and he's barely keeping his head on his shoulders. He's forced to retreat through the trees, sweat pouring down his face as he tries to create some distance. This is definitely a fight he wasn't fully ready for. He starts laying into the guys in the control room over the comms. He's barely dodging while they sit in their comfy chairs, and he is not happy about the bad intel. The operators are just staring at the screen like, should we mute him? While Chanseok promises to carve a rift into their faces when he gets back. Talk about a hostile work environment. Well, at least they know he's alive. Angry as hell, sure, but definitely breathing. The reality check sets in for Chanseok. His paradox flame isn't at full power yet, meaning he can't just one-shot this beast. He knows the drill, chip away at the health bar with his flames first, then go in for the kill with the spear. Standard veteran strategy. Problem is, this specific monster is a literal tank. It's taking everything he's got and it still looks fresh as a daisy. He realized he made a rookie mistake. He burnt too much of the island's mana on that giant bat earlier, and now the tank is running low. He's feeling the fatigue. His output is way lower than it should be, and he knows he can't keep this up much longer. He's trapped on the island, so he needs to find a literal mana well. He's looking for a place to recharge before he gets squashed like a bug. His hero senses are tingling. He spotted something in the distance. Boom, he found exactly what he was looking for. A massive source of energy right for the taking. He doesn't hesitate for a second and dives right toward the source. It's time for a power-up. He's muttering a warning while he's making his move. The monsters better watch their backs. He's diving deeper, telling the monsters to try and keep up. This guy's confidence is finally starting to return. Back at command, the manager has a creepy look on his face. He's got his own agenda and needs to confirm something. And just like that, he's off the grid. The GPS signal is gone, leaving the control room totally blind. The realization hits the manager like a truck. Chanseok didn't just find the rift, he actually went inside it. Inside the rift isn't a hellscape. It's actually weirdly nice. Chanseok is surprised at how clean the place looks compared to the chaos outside. He's starting to question the power scaling of this world. If this is just a grade 3, he's wondering how insane a grade 1 or 2 must be. He hears footsteps approaching through the grass. He's definitely not alone in here. The tour guide from hell shows up. The monster tells him his little sightseeing trip to the corrosion rift is officially finished. It's time for the breakup. The monster is ready to end their relationship once and for all. Chanseok fires back with a witty line. He's not the clingy type anyway, so he's fine with calling it quits right here. The beast lets out a deafening roar, showing off those massive teeth. It's tired of the talking and ready to tear him apart. He readies his weapon while thinking about the huge drawback of his main skill. Every power has its price, after all. The Paradox Flame is a literal double-edged sword. It incinerates every living thing it touches that isn't him. Total scorched earth policy. It doesn't discriminate between friend or foe. Even an ally caught in the crossfire is toast. If he lets the power spiral out of control, he can't use it without killing everyone nearby. It's a risky game, but he's got to play it to win. He narrowly avoids a deadly strike, moving with incredible precision. He's looking for the monster's openings. Direct hit. He lands a massive blow on the beast, and the impact rocks the entire area with a thunderous crash. The beast is absolutely losing it, engulfed in a storm of energy. It's finally starting to feel the heat. Chan-seok realizes that since he's fighting alone, he can let loose without worrying about any drawbacks. This is his ideal playground. He's just getting started. The real battle begins as he prepares to drain the rift's mana dry. Look at all that mana. He's acting like a giant vacuum, sucking up all the energy in the vicinity into his body. We get an X-ray view of the process. The mana is flowing through his bones and filling his entire frame with power. This isn't just a recharge, it's an upgrade. His mana pathways are literally being rebuilt and reinforced to handle the massive load. He takes a long, deep breath, exhaling mana vapor. He's feeling like a whole new man. He gives a wicked grin. This little pit stop turned out to be even more efficient than he expected. The monster is still trying to fight back, but it's clearly struggling against the tide of energy. A massive roar echoes out as the energy levels hit critical. The ground is literally shaking under the pressure of the clash. Glowing magical circles start appearing in the sky. The entire rift is reacting to his presence now. He's figured out the monster's hidden plan. He's looking pretty smug for a guy in the middle of a battle zone. He stands his ground as a whole. Pack of monsters start closing in. It looks like the boss decided to send in the reinforcements. He's completely surrounded by these beastly-looking things. They really don't want him leaving in one piece. He scoffs at the move, asking if it called for backup. How cute. He readies his spear, which is absolutely humming with energy. Numbers don't mean a thing when you have an infinite power source. He's standing in the middle of a massive crater, looking like a god of destruction. He's already several times stronger than when he first walked in. Even with all this power, he knows he's still not at his peak. He's on a mission to find the core and end this show. He recalls Min-jae's words about the Rift Boss being the strongest dog in this space. He's ready to prove him wrong. A chilling red voice echoes out, telling him to stop. Someone is very unhappy with his progress. A massive, dark shadow looms right behind him. This thing looks way more dangerous than the ones from before. His eyes widen. He definitely didn't see that one coming. The stealth on this beast is insane. The monster attacks with a thunderous blow that kicks up a giant wave of dust that would have crushed anyone else. Chan-seok is just a blur as he zips out of the way. He's playing a dangerous game of tag right now. He realizes the monster was just biding its time. He gives it a backhanded compliment for being smart enough to wait for his power to fade. The monster isn't here for the small talk. It flat out tells him that it will kill him. Short, sweet, and to the point. He admits the core is a different beast entirely. He starts calculating his next move. Looks like he's got a 4-hit combo ready for this guy. He rockets forward like a blue lightning bolt. He's going for the first strike. A flurry of spear thrusts fill the air. He's trying to overwhelm the monster with pure speed. Their weapons collide in a massive shockwave. The power behind this exchange is off the charts. Sparks fly everywhere as they grind their weapons against each other. It's a literal battle of wills. A burst of blue magical energy explodes at the point of contact. This isn't just physical combat anymore. He's unleashing his secret technique, the dual orbit spear. Here comes the pain. Swirling rings of blue energy surround him as he focuses his power. It looks like he's about to break the sound barrier. The monster is visibly surprised. Chan-seok explains that the technique creates a blue trace that mimics his every move. We get a breakdown. The blue phantom strike perfectly copies his first hit, repeating it 4 times in total. It's like being hit by a whole squad at once. He keeps explaining, if he times it right, it's just 4 back-to-back hits. Sounds simple, but wait for the twist. The monster is getting pummeled by the blue traces. It's trying to block, but there are just too many of them. Now here's the pro gamer move. What if he delays the phantom strike by a beat? That's going to mess up the monster's timing big time. It creates a staggered 2-part attack that's nearly impossible to dodge perfectly. He's completely outplaying this thing. The monster realizes it's caught in a trap. A delayed pincer attack is a nightmare to deal with for any fighter. And there it is. The monster messes up its defense and gets shredded by the blue energy. Mistakes were definitely made. The impact is so heavy, it cracks the ground like glass. The force of the strike is insane. He calls it right here. Game over, buddy. He looks down at the defeated beast with zero emotion. He delivers the final killing blow with a thunderous impact. That's a wrap on the Rift Boss. the monster starts to break apart, turning into a cloud of blue sparks. It's a pretty spectacular way to go out. He expected the whole thing to just vanish into thin air, but it looks like something was left behind in the smoke. He's found a mysterious, glowing cube. He wonders what a box is doing in here. He's definitely curious about his loot. He clicks the box open to see what kind of drop he got. Every gamer knows this feeling of anticipation. His eyes go wide. Whatever is in that box, it's definitely a legendary tier drop. Back at the control center, it's absolute pandemonium. They've lost all the signals from Team 8, and the corrupted zone is spreading like crazy. The manager looks out over the displays, hearing reports that reinforcements are struggling to even land. Everything's falling apart. He looks like he's ready to give up. He's wondering if this is the end for everyone on that island. He's praying for a miracle, because otherwise, they're toast. Suddenly, an operator shouts for his attention. There's a message from Chan Seok. The manager is shouting, wanting to know what it says. There might be hope after all. He throws the message onto the main screen so everyone can see it. This is the moment of truth for the whole room. The message is simple. The Alpha Corrosion Rift has been taken care of. They've also confirmed the monsters are being annihilated. Boss move. The manager is in shock. He literally whispers that it's a miracle. This rookie just saved his career and everyone's lives. He knows everyone is going to be wondering how a rookie did it, but for now, he's just glad the nightmare is over. Chan Seok sits back and enjoys the night sky on the island. After all that work, he's just chilling. He comments on how nice the air is. Classic legend. A massive shockwave rocks the battlefield as monsters are sent flying everywhere. Han Sana is right in the thick of it, desperately swinging her blade to stay alive. Sana is surrounded by crackling blue static as she fends off the horde. She looks totally drained, but she's pushing through the exhaustion with pure willpower. Her hands are shaking as she grips her weapon, and she's breathing heavy. This girl is definitely reaching her breaking point in this fight. We get a close-up of her tightening her grip while grit and sweat fly off her face. She realizes there are just way too many monsters for her to handle alone at this rate. Sangha is starting to panic because Yu Chan Seok is still nowhere to be found. She's staring into the chaos, clearly fearing the worst for her teammate. She turns to Kim Min-jae with wide, worried eyes. It's that classic we're in deep trouble look when the odds are stacked against you. The camera pans out to show the massive swarm of shadow monsters closing in on their position. Min-jae is internally screaming, wondering if they're actually going to make it out alive. Sangha is bleeding from her arm and looks completely spent as she gasps for air. She knows she can't hold out much longer against this endless wave of creatures. Suddenly, a monster lunges forward with a terrifying shriek right at her face. Things just went from bad to absolute disaster. Sangha braces for the impact, her eyes narrowed in a last-ditch effort to focus. It's a total do-or-die moment for her. She's staggering on her feet, her vision probably blurring from the intense strain. She lets out a soft gasp as she starts to lose her balance entirely. She thinks her legs won't hold her up. She's falling backward, and a monster is already airborne, coming straight for her throat. Min-jae screams her name in a total panic as the creature closes the gap. It looks like the end for our favorite rookie hunter. We see the monster's glowing white eyes right in her face as it prepares to strike. This is some serious nightmare fuel right here. Suddenly, a massive thud rocks the entire area as something heavy slams into the ground. What the heck just happened? Sangha flinches and shuts her eyes tight, waiting for the impact. She's ready for the worst, but strangely, nothing happens. She slowly opens her eyes, looking totally confused and disoriented. She's staring at the dust clearing in front of her. She's absolutely stunned as the massive cloud of debris settles. She gives a confused look as she looks around. They're gone. The entire swarm of monsters has just vanished into thin air, leaving only scorched earth behind. We cut to the Gyeodongdo Island assembly point where things are finally calming down. Chan Seok is walking back to the group, looking like he just finished a light afternoon jog. The other hunters spot him and their jaws literally hit the floor. They can't believe their eyes, exclaiming his name in disbelief. Everyone is whispering in total disbelief as they watch him approach. They can't wrap their heads around a rookie taking down a grade 3 rift by himself. Chan Seok stands there looking as badass as ever with his spear resting on his shoulder. He's internally wondering how big grades 1 and 2 could possibly be if this was just a grade 3. Min-jae runs up to him, shouting his name and waving like a crazy person. He's clearly relieved to see his buddy is still in one piece. Min-jae shows him a text on his phone about the Alpha Rift being dealt with an hour ago. He admits he was totally shocked when he first saw the message. Sangha walks up with her arms all bandaged from the fight. She looks at him with suspicion, wondering how he could even think of taking on the rift alone. Chan Seok plays it cool, acting like a noble hero who moved to protect the other hunters. But internally, he's just managing his image like a pro. He tells them if he had known how strong it was, he would have set out way before sundown. The casualness of this guy is actually insane. A serious-looking guy in a suit walks up and asks for Hunter Yu Chan Seok. Our boy isn't even surprised. He knew the VIPs would be coming for him. The guy introduces himself as Byeon Jung Tai from the Korea Operating Corporation. It's time for some official business. He asks Chan Seok if he has a moment to talk. He's got that professional, "I have an offer you can't refuse" vibe going on. The official drops the big news. The mayor would like to see him. That's a pretty huge promotion for a first mission. Chan Seok thinks to himself that ordering people around is just a common trait among old folks. He's really not that impressed by the invitation. While walking through the rain, he's already calculating the bonus he should get for clearing a grade 3 rift. He's definitely ready to negotiate his worth. He's greeted by Lee Pil-jae, a communications and liaison officer. This guy looks a lot more approachable than the previous official. Pil-jae tells him the mayor has been sincerely looking forward to this meeting. Talk about getting the red carpet treatment. They walk down a sleek, modern hallway with huge windows overlooking the city. The place looks expensive, which is a good sign for Chan Seok's wallet. Pil-jae admits that when he received the report from Gyeongdo Island this morning, it absolutely shocked him. He's treating Chan Seok like a literal legend already. Chan Seok shrugs it off, saying it wasn't that impressive and they could have met later. He's humble bragging at a master level right now. Pil-jae tells him a rookie hunter destroying a grade 3 rift single-handedly hasn't happened since the Great Pioneer era. This kid is making history. He plays along, saying he supposes not, and that he found it tough to handle alone. He's still playing the humble card while the official looks on with a smile. We get a shot of them walking through a door into a high-end office. Someone in the room thinks to themselves about whether that guy is the real monster. Pil-jae announces their arrival to the mayor. The big meeting is finally happening. The nameplate on the desk says Incheon Mayor Park Ji-yeon. The mayor welcomes them and thanks Chan Seok for coming all this way. The mayor apologizes for the awful weather and looks like your typical friendly politician. I don't trust that smile for a second. He tells Pil-jae to get them some coffee so they can sit down and talk. He's really trying to create a relaxed atmosphere. He tells Chan Seok that he has truly done a great service for the country. Yeah, he's definitely buttering him up for something. The mayor complains that Gyeongdo Island was a pain in the neck due to the limited budget. He's thrilled Chan Seok resolved it at a relatively low cost. Chan Seok sips his coffee, confirming it was his first commission. He's listening intently, but he's not falling for the smooth talk. The mayor stands up with a burst of energy, saying he's proud such an incredible person's first steps were in Incheon. He's really laying it on thick now. He starts rambling about Korea being the safest country in the world and Incheon being a key region. Chan Seok is just wondering what's with this all of a sudden. He points to a model of Incheon Airport, talking about wonderful infrastructure and economic zones. It's basically a campaign speech at this point. He talks about international cities like Songdo and Cheongna that have tons of foreign investors. Chan Seok looks like he'd rather be fighting goblins. The mayor gets all worked up talking about massive funds coming through Incheon and goods transported through the airport. He's definitely trying to show off his city's wealth. He starts to make some big promises about ensuring the path Chan Seok walks as a hunter. He stops and asks Chan Seok one simple thing. He asks Chan Seok what his purpose is for being a hunter. The mayor is watching him closely from the front seat of a car now. Chan Seok gives the most blunt answer ever. Someone has to dive into the shit water and unclog it. Basically, he's the world's highest paid plumber. The mayor says he sees, looking thoughtful, he mentions how famous, skilled hunters are extremely popular and get scouted for TV shows. He points out that companies will be asking him to shoot commercials. He's dangling the celebrity carrot in front of Chan Seok's face. The mayor admits he's worried Chan Seok will change due to fame. He's trying to sound like a concerned mentor. He warns that many promising hunters become intoxicated with popularity and honor, losing sight of their duty. He's definitely trying to sound wise here. He mentions that just across the truce line, the corrosion zone is full of menacing monsters. It's a grim reminder of the reality they live in. He calls Korea the only safe place and the last sanctuary left on Earth. He's really pushing that patriotic narrative hard. The mayor tells Chan Seok that what he accomplished is incredible, and many people will be watching him with interest. He says he hopes Chan Seok will continue to do great things. Chan Seok is just staring back, probably wondering when the actual deal starts. Chan Seok looks out the window at the rain, thinking to himself that he's curious how far they'll go. He knows there's no such thing as a free lunch. He realizes the mayor isn't even trying to hide his motives, just laying it all out on the table. But Chan Seok isn't the type to be swayed by something like this. We get a brief flash of Chan Seok's battle-scarred past. He suffered through way too many hardships to care about some mayor's slick-talking. He asks point-blank what he has to do in return for all this support. He's finally getting to the heart of the matter. He accurately guesses that the mayor wants help with his falling approval ratings to get re-elected. The mayor looks completely taken aback. The mayor laughs it off, saying Chan Seok is quite well informed. He blames the phone for letting people find out anything these days. Chan Seok reminds him his term ends early next year, and the general consensus is that re-election will be difficult. Ouch, talk about a reality check. The mayor stammers a bit, admitting Chan Seok is direct. He brings up that Chan Seok needs City Hall approval for his commissions anyway. Chan Seok thinks about how the mayor wants to go around bragging that he discovered a new talent. It's all about the PR for this guy. He realizes the politician just wants to ride his coattails after roping him in. It's a pretty desperate move when you think about it. The mayor mentions his relationships with many overseas and domestic companies. He's trying to show he's still got some influence. He points to the instant coffee model on the table, saying her contract is ending soon and they could replace her with Chan Seok. This guy really wants to turn him into a brand. Chan Seok sets his coffee cup down with a sharp tap and looks the mayor dead in the eye. He's done listening to the pitch. He tells the mayor he seems to be taking him for someone cheap. Oh boy, he just nuked the entire room. The mayor's smile is completely gone. The mayor is sweat smiling now, totally caught off guard by the bluntness. Chan Seok tells him a new face is definitely needed in this dreary atmosphere. He says that if a talent like him continues to work as a hunter, he deserves way more than just some coffee commercials. He's setting his own price. He tells the mayor that everything he promised, the support, the fame, is his share to take anyway. He's not going to beg for what he's earned. Chan Seok leans over the table with a menacing look, basically taking control of the entire negotiation. He's the one in charge now. He tells the mayor he can provide him with safe and high-paying commissions. That's a much better deal than some billboard. He calls the mayor's previous offer really uninteresting. Talk about total dominance in a business meeting. He tells the mayor to just give his congrats to the coffee mix model instead. He's basically saying she's lucky she still has a job. We cut to the rainy city outside. It looks like the meeting is officially over, and Chan Seok got what he wanted. Two guys in hoods are standing in a dark alley. One of them reports that the Gyeodongdo Island test was a complete failure. The guy apologizes, looking pretty terrified of whoever he's reporting to. These guys seem a lot more dangerous than any politician. He stammers out that there is at least some good news to report. He's desperately trying to avoid a bad outcome for himself. He shows a clip on his phone from Chan Seok's hunter certification exam. These guys have leaked footage. They really do have eyes everywhere. The video on the phone shows Chan Seok's blue flames in action. The guys are mesmerized, calling the rookie incredible as they watch him work. A mysterious figure with a dark hood and a creepy, smug smile looks at the phone. He asks with a chilling tone if he is excellent. He's gripping the phone tight, his grin getting wider by the second. It looks like Chan Seok just caught the attention of someone very, very dangerous. It's the first of every month, and the whole nation is glued to their screens. The September 2025 Hunter rankings are finally dropping, and the hype is through the roof. Even at home, kids are freaking out and calling for their moms to come check the news. Everyone wants to see who the new heavy hitters are this season. Usually, these rankings don't change much, and the public just watches for entertainment. But some punts on the street are already asking who the heck took the #1 spot this time. Over in the hospital, Kim Min-jae is sitting on his bed, looking completely shocked. He lets out a breathless exclamation as he stares at the screen. Even the big boss, Hunter Association President Moon Jung-tae, is getting briefed on the results. You know it's a big deal when the guys in suits are this tense. Lee Se-yoon is checking the list while resting her massive weapon on her shoulder. She's wondering if that guy actually made the cut. Yu Chan Seok is sitting in a suit, looking completely unimpressed by the flashy announcement show. He thinks all the theatrics are just a waste of time. He scrolls through his phone, ignoring the fluff. To a pro like him, the only thing that actually matters is the top 10 list. Coming in at 10th place is Lee Se-yoon. We see a quick shot of her effortlessly setting up camp in a snowy wasteland, proving why she's a top-tier hunter. Next up at 5th place is Kim Chae-yeon, looking edgy with that purple hair and dual-wielding daggers. Right below her is the 3rd place powerhouse, Choi Yor-um. Choi Yor-um is literally glowing with fire magic, looking like a total boss. Just above him at 2nd place is the mountain of a man, Jang Tae-seok. Jang Tae-seok is seen from behind, standing over a pile of rubble like a true juggernaut, but everyone is waiting for the biggest reveal of all. The #1 spot goes to Mr. Yu Chan Seok. He's caught totally off guard by the news, and he's definitely not used to this level of fame yet. A staff member opens the door, telling Chan Seok he's been waiting long enough and it's time to head out. The press is probably waiting to tear him apart with questions. The news reports are going wild over the 25 new entry hunters of 2025. Of course, Chan Seok is the main headline. The screen flashes NEW Yu Shan Suke in big red letters. Entering the world rankings in record time after your debut, this guy is a literal glitch in the system. The narrator notes that a 5-year veteran soloing a grade 3 rift is common enough to be ignored. It's impressive, but not unheard of. But a rookie doing that on his very first mission? That is a completely different story. The media is losing their minds over this miracle. Chan Seok stands at the podium, surrounded by a sea of microphones and cameras. They're firing off questions about his past job and if he really cleared that rift alone. Chan Seok looks like he'd rather be anywhere else, feeling like a kid on one of those Finding Geniuses TV shows. He shuts them down, saying he has a schedule to keep and will take one last question. The reporters are practically climbing over each other to get a word in. They want to know his mindset as a hunter and if he has any words of resolution for the public. Chan Seok looks them dead in the eye, telling them to forget those cliché lines like, "I'll do my best." He's not here to give a motivational speech. He says he will show it to them with results. Mic drop. He's all about the action, not the talk. We cut to a helicopter flying over a massive crater. This used to be Gonzal prison, but now it's just a scar on the earth. Chan Seok looks down at the horrific sight, noting that it's the same everywhere abroad. Most countries lost all administrative power once the rifts showed up. He's riding in a high-tech helicopter with the association president. Apparently, South Korea became a powerhouse by successfully defending itself and making insane technological leaps. The president confirms that many world capitals simply disappeared when they couldn't cope with the corrosion. It's a pretty bleak look at the state of the world. The helicopter dips lower for a better look. You can see the ruined city below, a graveyard of modern civilization. He mentions the Great 80s, the 8 most dangerous rifts on the planet. Gonzal Prison is right at the top of that list. Gonzal Prison formed suddenly 13 years ago and spread out from the city center in a perfect, massive circle. It was an instant death sentence for anyone in the area. There were a few who barely survived, but they were trapped in a space that had already become a permanent corrosion zone. Talk about bad luck. The survivors were all swept away before they even had a chance to flee. It was a total massacre, leaving only ruins and monsters behind. In just a few days, an entire city vanished without a sound. This world really doesn't pull any punches. The president explains that while national influence hasn't changed much on the surface, central governments have internally weakened. Power has shifted to the ones who can actually fight. Chan Seok appreciates the lore dump, but he wants to know why he was called here. He's not a fan of long meetings without a point. The president reveals that Yoon Song-hyun from the Taevaek Guild came to find him a few days ago. Apparently, the big guy was pretty annoyed that Chan Seok didn't join his team. We see a flashback of Seong-hyun looming over Chan Seok, telling him to think this through properly. Yeah, that guy is definitely bad news. The president then admits Song-hyun abruptly asked for Chan Seok's whereabouts. Chan Seok gives a look of confusion. Taebaek's ideology is basically survival of the fittest. The president warns that they might actually try to subdue Chan Seok by force since they can't recruit him. Chan Seok thinks this is going to be a major pain. He admits that right now, it would be hard to beat a guy like that with just brute strength. The president notes that Chan Seok clearly wants to do things on his own rather than belonging to a guild. He's caught on to our hero's independent streak. To block Taebaek's approach, the president suggests Chan Seok needs to raise his own standing. He proposes taking on major missions directly from the association. Chan Seok sees right through him. He expected there was a motive. He asks point blank what the president actually wants from him. The old man just gives him a steady look. He reminds Chan Seok of the clear fact that he's the one providing help here. He tosses a brown envelope onto the seat, telling Chan Seok it's not a bad deal. A mission from the president will skyrocket his reputation. The mission is to escort a cargo ship from Busan to Nanning City. Transporting daily necessities through corrosion zones is a nightmare, so they need top-tier security. Chan Seok looks at the cargo list. Rolexes, high-end porcelain, luxury tea. Wait, what? He's wondering if the definition of daily necessities changed while he was away. The president looks out the window, reminding him that, for some people, these luxury items are necessities. Welcome to the high society side of the apocalypse. Chan Seok is totally confused. Why are these things needed in a country where the central government is basically shattered? The president explains that even with countries collapsing, international politics aren't meaningless. We see a puzzle map of world flags, showing everything is still connected. Basically, they need to grease the wheels to maintain certain relationships. Chan Seok clicks his seatbelt, done with the conversation, stating that if that's the case, he'll decline this one. The president panics, telling him to wait. He tries to tell him that the government considers this matter extremely important. Chan Seok isn't budging. He thinks it would be foolish for an individual to get swept into the center of politics. He's a hunter, not a diplomat. The old man tells him it might be rude to say, but he's just a rookie hunter who just debuted. He thinks Chan Seok is being way too arrogant. He warns that excessive attention has become poison to Chan Seok. He's looking pretty intense, trying to intimidate the kid into following orders. Chan Seok just tosses the mission papers into the wind and thanks the president for the helicopter ride. He's done here. The president is completely baffled as Chan Seok says he'll just swim to Seoul on his own. He can only react with utter shock. Chan Seok stands on the edge of the open helicopter door, perfectly balanced. He's not joking about the swim. He dives headfirst out of the helicopter, free-falling to the clouds. This guy is a literal menace to common sense. The president watches from the window, looking absolutely speechless. He's never seen a rookie act like this in his entire life. Chan Seok hits the water with a massive splash that sends a column of spray into the air. That's a long drop even for a hunter. The president just stares down at the ocean, muttering about kids these days. Yeah, this kid is definitely built different. We cut to Incheon Port at sunset. It's a massive industrial area, looking relatively intact compared to the prison. A dock worker is chilling with a cup of coffee when he notices some bubbles in the water. He looks totally confused. The water is churning and bubbling like crazy right by the pier. Something big is about to come up. Chan-seok explodes out of the water with a loud gasp. He looks a bit disheveled, but otherwise perfectly fine after that drop. He mutters about how he thought he was going to die and wonders who told the president to threaten him like that. The worker just stands there with his jaw open, completely stunned. The worker tells him he doesn't know what happened, but it looks like Chan-seok has been through a lot. Chan-seok just gives a tired thanks. As water drips off him, Chan-seok's resolve hardens. What he needs to do now is build his own strength so nobody can push him around again. He decides to prioritize solving the trickiest, shittiest requests to become a big shot fast. He wants to be a monster that nobody dares to sway. We see a montage of the people trying to use him. Song-hyun, the mayor, and the president. He's done being their pawn. He checks a request on his phone while sitting by the port. He says this one looks good. He's found his next target. Mission accepted. The Association of Kidnapping Victims on Tsushima Island needs hunters. This is right up his alley. The estimated corrosion rift grade is 2. That's a step up from the last one, and exactly the kind of challenge he's looking for. Chan-seok stands on a pier overlooking a beautiful pink and orange sunset. He lets out a long sigh as he prepares for the grind. He looks back over his shoulder with a determined expression. He thinks he is going to be busy for a while. The real hunt is finally on. We're kicking things off with a history lesson. September 3rd, peak prawn season, back when life was just about fishing and good food. But things didn't stay normal for long. The sea started changing, and it definitely wasn't because of the weather. Terrifying erosion entities started nesting on Tsushima Island. They didn't just show up to say hi, they started abducting the local fishermen like they were nothing but hunting prey. A lone survivor managed to crawl back with a grim update. He says the captured fishermen are actually still alive, probably being kept for something worse than just lunch. The mission is clear. Head to Tsushima Island, rescue those hostages, and wipe every single one of those erosion members off the map. This Torii gate in the water is the entrance to a literal nightmare. Chan-seok is back at home, casually scrolling through this mission brief on his phone. He looks like he's just ordering takeout, but he's actually planning a rescue op. He checks the payout, 55 million won. He's already doing the math, thinking if he handles this solo, he doesn't have to split the loot with anyone. He thinks it's all his. Look at that face. This dude is definitely motivated by the bag. That payout is enough to make any hunter's eyes light up. He's already imagining the glorious life of fame and money that comes with being a legendary hero. Who knew saving lives was so profitable? He gets serious for a second, knowing it's worth the challenge. But he knows there's a huge difference between classes of monsters. He's heard that erosion entities are on a whole different level depending on their rank. It's not just about size, it's about raw destructive power. Check this out. A third-class member has the power to crush a literal tank. That giant purple beast is making scrap metal out of military gear like it's Play-Doh. Then you've got the second class, which is basically a walking natural disaster. We're talking storm-level destruction just by showing up. And the first class? That requires an entire nation to mobilize just to fight one entity. This toothy maw in the dark is some high-tier nightmare fuel. Chan-seok is sitting in the dark, wondering if he can really withstand a second-class rift on his own. He realizes to eliminate the variables, he might actually need a partner. He scrolls through his contacts, looking for anyone who isn't a total scrub. He stops when he sees a familiar name. Looks like he found his useful person. Fast forward to mission day, and Chan-seok is looking sharp on the boat. He's got his full gear on and that massive spear strapped to his back. He's staring out at the horizon, probably mentally preparing for the beatdown he's about to deliver. The calm before the storm is real. And here she is. Han Sang-ah joined the party. She's looking ready for war in her combat gear, and honestly, she's probably the only one who can keep up with him. Chan-seok is still checking his phone, estimating they'll reach Tsushima in about an hour. He's all business, all the time. He tells Sun-na to save her energy until they arrive, because this fight is going to be way tougher than the last one. She's just standing there, probably wondering if he's ever going to stop being so bossy. Sun-na notices something new on his gear, pointing to the thing on his shoulder. She's got a sharp eye for loot. It's the Iron Seraph Shoulder Gear Limited Edition with a leather finish. Sun-na is geeking out over how high-end it is, and Chan-seok is just wondering if she ever stops talking. He tells her a scrap dealer gave it to him as a gift. Sun-na is totally jealous because her dealer didn't give her anything nearly that cool. Chan-seok pulls the "I'm a rising prospect" card, telling her she's just a rookie with a valedictorian title. He's absolutely roasting her right now, and that smug grin is top tier. Sun-na just glares at him silently. If looks could kill, Chan-seok would be at the bottom of the ocean right now. We're getting a flashback to a few days ago. This must be where the partnership actually started. We get a close-up on some industrial flooring. Thrilling stuff, I know, but it sets the scene for their training center meeting. Chan-seok approaches her while she's training and asks if she needs a teammate. He's got that casual, "I'm doing you a favor" energy. Sang-ah looks shocked. She reminds him that she nearly died fighting a third class, so a second class mission sounds like a death sentence. John Seok just stares at her, completely unbothered. He knows exactly what she's thinking. He leans in with a piercing gaze, asking if she doesn't want to get stronger. That's the ultimate hook for any hunter. He brings up the time she asked if she could learn from him because he was stronger. He's using her own words against her to get her to sign up. He makes her a promise. As long as he's the one teaching her, he can guarantee she'll level up. He's basically offering her a masterclass in monster slaying. We see a wide shot of Sang-ah in her training gear, looking small compared to the obstacles. The path to power isn't easy. Chan Seok gives her the ultimate choice, asking what she says. Sang-ah looks like she's about to make the most important decision of her life. He shows her his scarred arm, a reminder of the price he paid to get this strong. He's got a very clear reason for needing more power. The two of them share a serious moment, both thinking if only they can get stronger. It's a sentiment they both share deep down. Back on the boat, Sang-ah is looking out at the sea with a dark look in her eyes. She's willing to dive into hell itself just to reach that next level. Suddenly, the alarms go off. The radar is picking up something hostile heading their way. They spot 5 unidentified ships ahead. These aren't just fishing boats. They look like ghost ships coming through the fog. Chan Seok and Sang-ah are on high alert. 5 ships is a lot to handle before they even reach the island. Chan Seok realizes there are civilians on the island, so they need to cross the water without being detected. Stealth mission time. He looks at Sang-ah and asks if she has a good way to get them across. She's currently leaping through the air, looking a bit surprised he's asking her. He starts teasing her, asking if she doesn't have a trick like that or if she just can't do it. He really knows how to push her buttons. The clouds look ominous as the tension builds. Sang-ah isn't responding yet, which is never a good sign. Oh boy, look at that face. Sang-ah gives a creepy, intense grin and asks if she has a way. She's about to do something absolutely wild. Chan Seok looks a little unsettled by her sudden personality shift. Meanwhile, on the enemy ship, the goblins are literally laughing at them. Bad move, guys. A massive splash rocks the water as they make their move. The stealth part of the mission is officially over. Sang-ah is literally carrying Chan Seok while she runs across the water. He's complaining about the water splashing and telling her to fly carefully. This dynamic is hilarious. A monster on the nearest ship spots them and is totally confused. Imagine seeing 2 humans sprinting across the ocean right at you. Chan Seok points out the nearest target and tells Sang-ah to block it. She's too busy concentrating to argue about why right now. He's analyzing the mana signatures, noting that the energy is much stronger toward the back ships. They need to clear the path fast. Sang-ah grips her sword with a firm acknowledgement. She's finally in the zone and ready to slice some monsters. She lands on the deck of the ship, startling the creatures. One of them mutters in confusion about a person, like they haven't seen a human in a century. A massive, shadowy figure looms over her. These aren't just regular goblins. There's something much bigger on these ships. The monster's heavy boot slams onto the deck. It tells its friends to look again. This isn't a normal human. It's a terrifying skeleton monster wielding a massive scythe. It notes that that's not how a human moves. Correct, because Sang-ah is a beast. The skeleton lets out a blood-curdling screech. It's definitely not happy to have guests. Sang-ah sticks the landing, skidding across the deck with a thud. She's looking ready to turn these bones into dust. Chan Seok is just chilling on the ship's railing, critiquing her landing. He tells her if she keeps landing like that, she'll blow out her knees. He warns her that she's drawing way too much unwanted attention. The entire deck is now swarming with monsters. He stomps his own foot down with a loud crash and his eye starts glowing that amber color. He's done with the commentary and ready for action. He unleashes a massive blue energy blast that rips through the monster ranks. Talk about clearing the floor. He notes that their level isn't actually that high, just lowest tier of second class. To a pro like him, they're basically just practice. He looks back at Sang-ah, his eye still glowing. He's judging her performance in the middle of a literal war zone. Sang-ah responds by unleashing a massive electrical discharge that fills the whole panel. She's really not trying to be outdone. Chan Seok shouts her name, clearly surprised by the sudden output. He didn't expect her to go that hard so fast. He starts scolding her for using too much mana. He warns her that at this rate, she'll run completely dry before the real fight even starts. Sang-ah is panting, her face covered in sweat. She's pushing herself way too hard and you can see the strain in her eyes. We get another flashback text. Han Sang-ah, you can become several times stronger than you are now. This must be the motivation driving her to go so crazy. Chan Seok sees her struggling and mutters in worry. He's realizing she might be a bit too desperate for power. The ship is absolutely exploding with electricity and screams. Sang-ah is losing her cool. She's tearing through skeleton monsters in a blur of blue light and explosive impacts. She looks completely unhinged right now. Chan Seok yells at her again to reduce her output. He knows she's burning herself out, but she's not listening. We see a close-up of her intense blue eye. Her internal monologue is dark. The life of the weak is a tragedy. She thinks about how a weak life is infinitely short and endlessly dark. She vows to never live as a weakling again. We see a shot of a young Sung-ah crying. This trauma is exactly why she's willing to burn herself out just to be strong. She's back in the present, unleashing another massive blast. Chan Seok is screaming at her to look ahead. Chan Seok looks completely serious. He's realizing that her past is driving her to make some very dangerous choices. A blinding pillar of white and blue light erupts from the ship. This has to be her limit. She thinks about her reason for needing to get stronger. The screen goes white with this powerful statement. We end on Sung-ah looking absolutely lethal, her face covered in shadow and her eyes glowing. She's willing to dive into hell itself if it means she can get stronger. This girl is intense. The skeleton monster lets out a creepy laugh as it disintegrates, and we see Han Sung-ah in the background, absolutely winded. She's breathing hard, her shoulders slumped from the sheer intensity of that brawl. Sung-ah stands among the monster remains, leaning on her sword and looking like she just went 10 rounds with a blender. She's covered in scrapes and grime, but she's still standing. Chan Seok suddenly appears above her, leaning casually on the railing like he's watching a Sunday game. Sung-ah looks up at him and asks if it's over. The scene pans out to show the total destruction of the ghost ships. Chan Seok nonchalantly informs her that he took care of all the other boats while she was busy. Chan Seok gives her a big thumbs up with a smug little grin. He's clearly proud of his multitasking skills. Sang-ah looks down at her sword, muttering to herself that she really shouldn't have been so stubborn about the fight. She's starting to realize that maybe, just maybe, this guy knows what he's talking about. She holsters her weapon and thanks him for the advice, admitting she actually learned a lot. Chan Seok just brushes it off, saying the world is full of idiots who couldn't learn even if he spoon-fed them. As he fiddles with his gear, he admits that this is actually the first time anyone has ever given him advice. It's a rare moment of honesty from the rookie veteran. Sang-ah notes that everyone at the academy was just plain annoying. She then asks if he's worried she might eventually become stronger than him if she keeps listening. She gets this super intense look and claims there isn't a single teacher she hasn't eventually surpassed. Girl has got some serious confidence, I'll give her that. Chan Seok's face just goes totally blank in this hilarious chibi-style reaction. He looks like his brain just short-circuited hearing that. He tells her that definitely isn't going to happen with him, so she shouldn't worry. He promises to make sure she's looking up to him for the rest of her life. Sang-ah's thought bubble says it all. Hearing that answer really pisses her off. She's definitely not a fan of being told she's going to be second best forever. They finally arrive back at the mainland dock, stepping off the boat. It's time for a change of pace after the high seas battle. 2 soldiers or police officers snap a salute as the hunters walk past. Looks like their reputation is preceding them now. The guard tells them they'll remain on standby at Jeojae Island and wishes them luck. Chan Seok just gives a casual reply while Sang-ah follows behind. Chan Seok gets back to business, noting that according to the survivor, the hostages are being held at a shrine. He's already planning the next rescue. Sang-ah holds up 2 fingers, explaining that there are actually 2 shrines on the island, Gaijin and Atazumi. They need to figure out which one is the priority. She suggests Gaijin Shrine because it's closer. They could run there in a couple of hours. She's ready to bolt, but Chan Seok seems more cautious. His amber eye starts glowing again as he points out a problem. Going in light is fine for a rescue, but getting everyone back safely is going to be a completely different story. A text box reminds us that there are 15 hostages in total. That's a lot of people to protect while fighting off a horde of monsters. We see a vision of the hostages. They look like shadowy, bald figures. Chan Seok notes that it'll be even harder to escape if any of them are wounded. He senses a sinister mana beyond the fog that literally stings his skin. He knows the corrosion creatures all over the island will be chasing them relentlessly once they make their move. He decides that in order to avoid attacks during the rescue and get everyone back safely, they need at least one thing, a vehicle. Chan Seok asks Sang-ah if she's a good driver while pointing at a white van. She gives a confident reply. Cue the action movie transition. The van is absolutely flying, tires screeching and dust kicking up everywhere. Chan Seok is getting tossed around inside the car, looking absolutely terrified. He screams about her driving, realizing she drives like a maniac. The van is bouncing all over the place. He asks if the brakes are just for decoration, and Sang-ah fires back that if he doesn't like it, he can drive. Chan Seok grips the interior of the van with a white-knuckled grasp. He decides to just forget it and stop complaining before he gets sick. He climbs out and onto the roof of the moving van, spear in hand. He figures reckless driving is still better than his own license gathering dust for the last 20 years. The van speeds along a cliffside as a horde of monsters chases them. Chan Seok thinks that besides the driving, he's much better at fighting anyway. He readies a cable or rope, pulling it taut with a sharp sound. He's preparing to clear a path from the roof. He swings the cable out with a whoosh as the van drifts around a corner. This guy's balance is actually insane. A monster gets absolutely clocked in the face with a heavy impact. Chan Seok is taking them out while Sang-ah keeps her foot on the gas. He pulls back on the cable, his muscles tensing under his sleeve. He's making sure everything is secured properly. The cable whips through the air with a soft rustle. He's using it like a high-speed lasso to thin out the crowd. He gives the cable a tug, confirming that it's sturdy. He's setting up something big for the monsters behind them. Suddenly, his eyes widen as he senses a new threat. He catches a glimpse of something that makes him freeze up for a second. He screams a warning to Sung. Monsters are swarming in from the left. It's a massive wave of them coming through the trees. Sung gets a fierce look in her eyes and tells him to leave it to her. She's about to show off some of that valedictorian skill. Chan Seok looks panicked and yells at her to wait. He knows she's about to do something completely reckless. Sung basically turns the van into a drifting missile, tires screeching as she maneuvers through the monsters. The impacts show she's just plowing through them. She lets out a maniacal laugh, telling the monsters to go roll on the pavement. She is having way too much fun with this. Chan Seok is just hanging on for dear life, looking completely dead inside. He's thinking maybe he should have driven instead. We get a peaceful view of the green mountains and a blue lake. It's a nice contrast to the high-speed monster chase happening right now. The sound of the engine echoes through the forest as they speed up a stone path. They're getting close to their destination. The van is literally driving up the stone stairs leading to the shrine with monsters hot on their tail. Sung is really pushing that vehicle to its absolute limit. They reach the top and Chan Seok spots the shrine. Sung asks about the monsters behind them, and she's already preparing to jump out. She tells him she'll handle the ones in the back. She looks totally locked in and ready for a fight. The side door of the van slides open with a loud thud. It's go time. Chan Seok leaps out, shouting that he's going ahead. He's heading straight for the hostages while Sung covers the rear. Chan Seok's hand starts glowing with purple energy. He's already preparing to unleash his signature power. He tells the monsters they should have stopped chasing them as the purple flames start to flare up. He is not in a good mood. A swirl of black and purple energy surrounds his hand. He's charging up something big. He shouts out the name of his Paradox Flame. Talk about an epic entrance. A massive purple explosion rocks the shrine stairs. It looks like he just detonated a magical nuke. He's skidding down the steps, thinking he just needs to burn away the friction of the stairs to move faster. Genius move, really. He lands with a thud in a dark room. He successfully entered the shrine. He finds one of the hostages tied up on the floor. The poor guy looks absolutely terrified. Chan Seok reaches out and asks if he's okay. He's trying to be gentle, which is a big shift from his monster-killing persona. The hostage looks up with hollow, terrified eyes. He looks like he's seen some serious stuff. Sung enters the room, weapon drawn, and introduces herself as Hunter Han Sung from the association. She's trying to look heroic and reassuring. The hostage is trembling, his jaw quivering. He's finally letting out a shaky sound as the reality of the rescue hits him. Suddenly, the hostage lets out a blood-curdling scream. He looks like he's seeing a ghost right behind them. Sung is totally confused, shouting in surprise. She tries to tell him she's there to save him, not capture him. The hostage screams at the top of his lungs for them to run away. He's looking at something absolutely terrifying lurking in the shadows. We get a close-up of the guy's face. He's paralyzed with fear. He knows what's coming, and it's not good. A massive, samurai-style monster looms right behind Sung. It's crackling with blue electricity and holding a huge blade. This thing is the real deal. Chan Seok reacts instantly, clashing his spear against the samurai's sword in a shower of sparks. He saved her just in the nick of time. Purple energy flares up around Chan Seok as he tells Sung to get the survivors into the car. He gives a confident statement that he'll handle this one. Oh, it is ON. Chan Seok and the samurai monster are throwing hands, and the air is literally buzzing with blue lightning. This isn't just a duel, it's a high-voltage clash of titans. Look at that overhead shot. Chan Seok is leaning into the fight while the samurai looks like a mountain of armor. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a sword. Their blades meet in a shower of white-hot sparks that completely fill the panel. You can practically hear the metal screaming under that pressure. Close up on the hero's eye, and man, he is locked in. Even with that massive blade pressing down on him, he's not flinching an inch. The samurai lets out a monstrous roar, pulling its sword back for what looks like a world-ending swing. This dude is definitely the boss for a reason. The monster slams its blade down with enough force to shatter the earth, but wait, Chan Seok isn't under there. Talk about a lucky break. Suddenly, Sung screams for it to die as she comes charging in out of nowhere. She's not pulling any punches this time. WHAM. The samurai gets absolutely decked by the van. I guess that's one way to handle a legendary warrior, just hit him with a car. Smoke is pouring out of the engine as Chan Seok just stands there, watching the monster get flattened. That's a 10-10 for tactical driving, honestly. Chan Seok is already lecturing her, telling her to stay away from the wheel next time. He mockingly repeats her promise before telling her to just get in the van already. They're finally peeling away from the shrine with all the hostages on board. They confirm everyone's on board. Mission accomplished, or so they think. Sana's eyes go wide as she senses something nasty coming. She asks in disbelief if it's back already. Chan Seok's face says it all. Things just went from bad to worse. She tells him to look ahead and he knows exactly what he's gonna see. A massive cloud of red eyes is gathering in the middle of the road. It looks like the whole undead army decided to show up for a reunion. The road is completely blocked by a horde of skeletons with glowing red eyes. They're not just standing there, they're hungry for some hunter. Chan Seok notes that the samurai is somehow still alive after getting pancaked by a van. He comments on how it's still alive even after being hit by a car. This guy is a literal tank. Then he turns to Sung-ah and asks to borrow her sword. Her face is priceless. She looks at him like he's crazy. The skeletons are literally crawling out of the woodwork now with a sickening cracking sound. They're not giving our duo a single second to breathe. He drops the ultimate ultimatum, honor or people's lives. Sang-ah grips her sword handle and you can see the conflict in her eyes. She makes the call and tosses her blade over to him. Chan Seok catches it like a pro, and now it's time for the real show. He grips the borrowed sword with both hands, focusing his energy. You can feel the power building up just by looking at those motion lines. Close up on his wrist gadget as it starts humming with blue energy. He mutters that he didn't think he'd be using this so soon. We get a quick flashback to his time on Gyeodong Island, where it all started. This guy's been planning ahead even when he was in the middle of a war zone. He stares at his prize, a pair of mysterious gloves he found in a grade 3 rift. He recognizes them. A close-up of the gloves shows some high-tech looking plating and a blue battery meter. This isn't just fashion, it's military-grade hunter gear. He slides them on, and the blue energy starts surging through his arms. He comments that, as expected, they weren't just ordinary gloves. The tech explains itself. They're a mana battery that sucks energy right out of the surroundings. Talk about an infinite power glitch. He calls it a basic piece of equipment, but for a guy like him, it's everything. He's looking way more confident now that he's powered up. He says that to him, it's more than that. The blue glow is getting brighter, and you just know a beatdown is imminent. The battery has a 5-minute limit at max capacity. 5 minutes? In his hands, that's more than enough time to clear the whole island. He says that during those 5 minutes, the screen goes black. The hype is real. He declares that for these 5 minutes, he can actually rival the legendary Lee Se-yoon. He's a blur of speed and red sparks now. He leaps off the van with a graceful backflip, sword in hand. This dude is literally playing a different game than everyone else. Close up on the mana battery as it reaches critical charge. The blue light is blinding, and the air is humming with power. He disappears in a flash of blue light. If you blink, you're definitely gonna miss the best part. Purple motion lines tear across the screen as he shreds through the skeleton horde. He's moving so fast, the skeletons are basically frozen in time. Sang-ah is just staring out the window, looking completely shell-shocked. She thinks it's unbelievable. The aftermath is just a road full of monster parts. She questions how he wiped out so many of them. He's basically a walking meat grinder. He lands back on the roof, sheathing the sword with a calm command to not look back. This guy is the definition of cool guys don't look at explosions. Blue mana is still leaking from his body as they speed away toward Hatakatsu Harbor. The fight is over, but the intensity is still through the roof. We get a wide shot of the van racing down the road with the harbor in the distance. Finally, some clear skies maybe. Inside the van, Sang-ah is still reeling. She thought it would be over after the first encounter, but this mission is just the gift that keeps on giving. The monsters are back, and they're swarming the van like crazy. She wonders where they are coming from. This island is a literal nightmare factory. Sang-ah warns that the van is at its limit, but Chan Seok just gives her a deadpan command to keep going. This man's nerves are made of literal steel. The tires are screaming as they push the engine. Suddenly, a bright blue barrier starts glowing from the back of the van with a soft hum. The skeletons get blasted away by an invisible wall of force. Whatever Chan Seok is doing, it's working like a charm. The monsters hit the barrier and just shatter. Sang-ah is totally confused by what's happening. Close up on her eyes, wide with shock. She's seeing something that shouldn't be possible for a rookie. The van drifts around a corner, escaping the chaos as the blue light fades. They're finally getting some distance. The skeletons have completely stopped, just standing there as if they hit a wall. She notes that the ones chasing them just stopped all of a sudden, as if they hit something. Sang-ah is deep in thought, looking at the road behind them. She wonders if it could be because of that. She spots a glowing yellow magic circle on the wall. It's the method of divine protection. We see a figure drawing the complex sigil with a scratching sound. This is some high-level ancient magic right here. Sang-ah asks what this divine protection method is all about. Chan Seok gives her the shorthand. Simply put, it's a method for taking down monsters. He tells her she couldn't learn it even if he tried to teach her, because he learned it in another world. Man, his backstory is getting more mysterious by the second. He says he's getting better after all. He looks out the window, finally showing a bit of a human side. Sang-ah asks if he can defeat any monster with this trick. He wishes it were that easy, he replies, looking a bit grim. He stares into the distance, his face shrouded in shadow. There's always a bigger fish in the pond, but it doesn't work on the real ones. Oh boy, here come the actual heavy hitters. The samurai is back and he's glowing with blue electricity. It says the offering must be protected. This dude just won't stay down. Close up on that creepy helmet and a single glowing red eye. This guy is the definition of a final boss that has a second health bar. Sung-ah feels a chill go down her spine as a red line of killing intent marks her position. She's definitely sensing the danger now. John Seok mentions something called the mind's eye. He says the energy turned cold, but he's still not impressed, thinking it doesn't seem too threatening. Sung-ah is wondering if the mind's eye is a sixth sense for predicting attacks. She's sweating buckets just standing near this thing. Look at her hand shaking as she grips the sword. She thinks that even skilled masters find it difficult, so how could a mere corpse do it? The fear is real. Chan Seok puts a hand on her arm to steady her. He's got that "I got this" look on his face. They're facing down the giant monster together. The scale of this fight is absolutely insane. Chan Seok explains that the mind's eye and other fancy techniques are actually just illusions. This guy is really pulling back the curtain on the hunter world. His amber eye is glowing with a terrifying intensity. He says he will teach her how to deal with something like that. Oh, he's about to put on a masterclass. The samurai is getting absolutely shredded by purple energy strikes. Chan Seok isn't even breaking a sweat. One massive swing, and he slices through the monster like it's made of paper. That's how a real veteran handles business. Sung-ah is yelling from the sidelines, wondering why he's taking it on alone. He just gives her a cool explanation about the mind's eye. A close-up of a boot landing firmly on the ground. He's explaining that it's just data from countless real combat experiences. The samurai tries to strike, but Chan Seok easily weaves around it. He calls it a learned reflex that developed naturally over 20 years of hell. Sung-ah is taking mental notes on terms like sword insight and state of selflessness. She's looking at him like he's a literal god of war. He stands perfectly balanced, completely unbothered by the monster's presence. These states of enlightenment are just labels to him. He lists off the legendary titles like he's reading a grocery list: Unity of Divine, Sword, and Reversal of Fate. These so-called states of enlightenment. He takes a deep breath, perfectly in sync with the flow of the battle. The monster looks completely outclassed. He stands over the smoking remains of the samurai. He dismantled the high-tier monster without even using a unique skill. He looks back at her with a calm expression, telling her that in reality, they're nothing special. Talk about a humble brag. He explains that set limits are the real trap. What's important on the battlefield is that you don't need any special names. He has the right to say this. Close up on his eye, and you can see the sheer weight of his experience. The screen cracks like glass, symbolizing him breaking through the illusions of strength, because he sacrificed so much to get out of that trap. He notes that even a car wouldn't kill this thing, but it's a shame its ultimate move was only the mind's eye. He's looking pretty disappointed in the boss. Sung-ah is deep in thought, questioning her own progress. She wonders what she accomplished in this hunt. She realizes he's on a completely different level. Chan Seok surpassed what she thinks of as strength by far. She grips her sword handle so hard her knuckles turn white. A half-hearted attitude won't do. She's finally found her motivation. Chan Seok is walking away, his back turned to her. She thinks about her goal. She's ready to make a move. She looks down, gathering her courage. She has a favor to ask of him. She looks up with those intense blue eyes, full of determination. She asks him to please teach her properly. Here comes the training arc. Chan Seok looks a bit defensive, asking Sung-ah if she thinks he hasn't been teaching her properly. He's clearly trying to be a good mentor, even if he's a bit rough around the edges. She's not having it though, waving off his advice and demonstrations as not being enough for what she needs. She's hungry for real, practical combat training. She gets dead serious, demanding direct instruction because she knows she's ridiculously weak compared to him. She's in a hurry to grow stronger and she's not hiding it. Look at that determination. She admits she's lagging behind and needs to catch up fast. Her focus is laser sharp right now. Chan Seok stares back with an intense, questioning gaze. He asks the obvious question, why? He needs to know what's driving her. The mask slips and we see her true motivation. She wants to destroy Club Shaddai with her own two hands. That's a heavy burden for a rookie hunter to carry. We get a bit of lore here. Club Shaddai is one of the Great Eight, the most dangerous erosion zones on the planet. This isn't just a grudge, it's a mission to take down a global threat. Even Chan Seok is taken aback by her ambition. He asks about revenge, thinking that's an unnecessarily massive and dangerous goal for her. But Sung-ah doesn't blink, confirming it's all about avenging her family. The pain in her eyes says more than any words could. She's not looking for a handout though, handing over a business card and making it clear she'll pay for his expertise. She's all business. Chan Seok checks out the card and his eyes nearly pop out of his head. KY Group? That's a company with a 257 trillion won market cap, and her family owns the whole thing. He's completely stunned, realizing he's basically been hanging out with a super rich heiress this entire time. Talk about a plot twist. She nonchalantly explains that her grandfather is the owner, but she's opted out of the brutal family succession battle. She's chosen the path of a hunter instead. Chon Seok is skeptical, knowing that with her skills, she'll probably get dragged back into the family drama eventually. He asks what she's actually looking for from him in exchange for her wealth. Her offer is simple and enticing. Make her the best hunter possible, and in return, she'll supply him with top-tier elixirs. We're talking about the rare stuff that doesn't even hit the open market. She thinks it'll help him reach the level he's supposedly aiming for. Chon Seok just gives her a blank stare. He knows she wouldn't believe him if he told her the truth about his past. Because the legendary level she thinks he's chasing? He already reached those heights ages ago in his previous life as a hero. His real mission isn't just getting strong, it's restoring the world to how it used to be before the monsters and rifts took over. He shakes on the deal but surprises her by turning down the hard-to-get stuff. He's not interested in luxury. He tells her to just bring regular elixirs and asks if that's enough to satisfy her side of the bargain. Then he shifts focus back to the job, heading towards the medical center to check on the survivors. A doctor is busy scribbling notes, likely overwhelmed by the number of victims from the recent attack. He breaks down the grim situation for them. There are 7 patients in total, and their physical and nutritional states are incredibly poor. The bad news is that it'll take at least a week of recovery before any of them are conscious enough to actually speak. They're in a deep coma. The doctor agrees to let them rest and recover, knowing these people need time after that nightmare. But Chon Seok isn't about to waste a single second. He tells Sana to get outside right now because training starts today. A massive gust of wind kicks up as they step out. The atmosphere just got a lot more intense. He stands there, spear in hand, looking like an absolute unit. The training ground is empty, just the way he likes it. Before they get into it, he has one serious question for her. He's looking her dead in the eye. He asks if she could dodge it if he swung his spear at full power. That's not exactly a welcome to class kind of question. Sang-ah is totally taken aback, stammering that it would obviously be difficult because of the massive skill gap. Chon Seok tells her she's wrong. It's possible if she pushes her senses to the absolute limit. He's about to teach her the mind's eye for real. Step 1. See with your eyes. He's getting right in her personal space to make a point. Step 2. Hear with your ears. He's teaching her that combat isn't just about what you can see in front of you. Step 3. Smell with your nose. Yeah, even the air can tell you where an enemy is coming from. He leans in whisper close, telling her to master all her senses and fight in the realm of consciousness. This is some high-level mental warfare. He grips his spear, and you can practically feel the mana starting to hum. Class is officially in session. He vanishes. Sang-ah is left staring at empty air, her eyes wide in total shock. She closes her eyes, trying to figure out where he went by sound alone. She's trying to apply the lesson immediately. He appears behind her like a literal ghost, telling her she's wrong. That's a terrifying wake-up call. He tells her she's too slow. He's standing right there, and she didn't even notice until he spoke. He tells her it's senses first, not thinking. In a real fight, if you stop to think, you're already dead. He decides that's enough for the boring theory part. He's got that ready-to-break-something look on his face. He says now it's time to move on to practical training. Oh boy, Sang-ah is about to have a very long day. A massive shockwave rocks the entire rooftop. You can hear the impact from blocks away. The guards downstairs are freaking out, wondering where the heck their VIPs went. One of them is yelling into his radio, asking why no one called him sooner. These guys are totally out of the loop. He looks up and his jaw just drops. He was not expecting to see a literal war zone on the roof. Debris is flying everywhere as the two of them clash. It looks more like 2 monsters fighting than a teacher and a student. Their weapons collide mid-air with enough force to create a vacuum. Sang-ah is actually holding her own. Chon Seok is just a blur of motion, blocking her strikes with 0 effort. He's testing her limits. He sweeps his spear, forcing her to stay on her toes. Every move he makes is a lesson in lethality. Another massive explosion of dust as he slams his spear down. He's not holding back as much as you'd think. Sang-ah is looking totally desperate now, her eyes wide as she tries to keep up with his speed. He prepares a massive swing, his spear coated in a terrifying dark aura. This is the big one. She thinks she can't dodge it. She's frozen in fear, realizing she's trapped in his range. Suddenly, someone screams his name. Perfect timing for a distraction. The guards are running toward them, waving their arms like crazy. Talk about a buzzkill. Chan Seok stops his attack mid-swing, realizing they've been at it for hours. He's looking pretty relaxed for someone who just finished a deathmatch. He tells Sang-ah that she's at least able to block a bit now, so they'll end the first training session here. She looks like she's about to collapse. Back in the hospital, the mood is much heavier. Chan Seok asks a survivor if she's okay. The woman is sitting up in bed, looking totally traumatized. She's trying to remember what happened during the kidnapping. Close up on her hand with the IV drip, she starts describing how someone, or something, got out of the truck. Sang-ah asks if there were more people, but the answer is even weirder than they expected. The woman claims the monsters weren't hostile toward them at all. In fact, they were weirdly calm. She says the monsters actually helped them. We see a flashback of skeletons behaving like helpful neighbors. This world is officially broken. She remembers them loading the hostages onto the truck. It looks more like a business operation than a monster attack. Chan Seok's eyes narrow as he realizes the truth. It wasn't a rescue, it was a delivery. The woman realizes the horror of the situation. It wasn't an escape. Someone let them go on purpose. Sana looks disgusted. The idea that monsters and humans were working together is making her skin crawl. Chan Seok figures it out. They were used as bait. He notes it's weird that a mere civilian escaped from a place 2 trained hunters barely made it into. Something is definitely fishy. Sang-ah is fuming. She can't believe anyone would dare to play with human lives like this. She thinks it's arrogant. She's ready to slice through whoever is behind this petty trick. Chan Seok has that scary smile again. Whoever set this trap just made a very powerful enemy. Sang-ah realizes he's not just angry, he's absolutely livid. This guy does not like being underestimated. He asks the survivor if there's anything else she can tell them. He's looking for a specific clue. Suddenly, they both sense something and look toward the window. Something just arrived. We see the survivor again, looking exhausted. She mentions a specific person who got out of the truck. Apparently, this person had a cat mascot at their waist. That is a very specific detail to remember. Sang-ah starts rambling about data charges and Nate-on buttons. She's definitely showing her age with those references. Chan Seok is focused, noting that there isn't even an ant in sight, let alone people. He's ready to head back to the shrine. He says he found them. He spots someone standing on a distant rooftop silhouetted against the sky. It's a guy with a face full of piercings and a real sewing machine aesthetic. He looks like a total punk. Chan Seok gives him a half smirk. He's already sized the guy up and he's not impressed. The newcomer crosses his arms and smirks down at them, asking, "Hey there, kiddies?" Oh, he has no idea who he's talking to. We're met with a new challenger standing tall between the legs of a giant. He introduces himself as Kim Ji-hyun, and he definitely has that "I'm the main villain" vibe going for him. Ji-hyun stares down our heroes, claiming he's the only reason any of them are even alive right now. Chan Seok and Sang-ah look totally skeptical, wondering if this guy is for real. The mood shifts instantly as Ji-hyun's hand roughly grips the back of a hostage's shirt. He's done talking and decides it's time to show them the alternative to staying alive. He hoists up a bloody, unconscious man like he's nothing but a sack of potatoes. Ji-hyun's cold gaze makes it clear that he has zero value for human life. With a casual toss, he flings the body into a swirling dark rift. This dude is actually using people as sacrificial tributes. A hand desperately reaches out from the darkness, but it's too late. Ji-hyun cold-bloodedly explains that they're trapped in there until the core is destroyed. Sang-ah watches in horror, realizing the sick truth of what's happening. She asks if he's literally throwing people into the erosion zone like trash. A close-up of a demonic eye flashing red shows that things are about to get much worse. The transformation process is starting, and it is not pretty. The hostage emerges from the rift as a mutated, glowing-eyed monster. Sang-ah is losing her mind, realizing the guy just got turned into an erosion member right in front of them. Ji-hyun stands next to his new creation, looking disappointed. He mutters that a weak host yields absolutely nothing. This guy is literally farming monsters. Action shot. A massive strike connects with a thunderous impact, sending shockwaves through the area. Someone is finally fighting back. Sang-ah and Chan Seok are totally frozen in disbelief. They've seen some crazy stuff, but this human-to-monster pipeline is on a whole other level of messed up. Someone looks like Ji-hyun tightens his belt, getting ready for a real scrap. He justifies his actions by saying ordinary people were never enough to satisfy the rift. He gives a truly psychotic grin, talking about his goal to create a truly satisfactory member of erosion. This guy is a literal mad scientist of the apocalypse. Chan Seok locks in, his expression turning ice cold. He realizes these guys aren't kidnappers looking for a ransom. They're looking for raw materials. The shadowy monsters in the fog stare back, and the truth hits home. They don't want money. They want the hostages to swell their own ranks. Ji-hyun stands casually near a van, explaining that while he doesn't personally care about them, the elder insisted on an explanation for the greater good. Yeah, okay buddy, keep telling yourself that. He strikes a traditional martial arts pose, declaring themselves the heirs of Dangun. They've gathered for one single twisted purpose. Close up on those intense eyes. He rants about strengthening Korea's hegemony so that no one ever dares to challenge them again. Ji-hyun unleashes a massive shockwave that cracks the concrete beneath him. The dude is a literal powerhouse, and he's not even breaking a sweat. He gives a sinister smirk while cars are flying in the background. His dream is to build a truly powerful nation, even if it means burning everything else to the ground. They finally clash. Ji-hyun meets an attack head-on with a massive impact. The speed and power here are absolutely insane. A car gets caught in the crossfire, tumbling through the air like a toy. This isn't just a fight, it's total urban demolition. Chan Seok looks pretty beaten up, catching his breath and asking for a break. He's definitely feeling the pressure of this 1v1. Another massive impact rocks the battlefield. These two are basically walking disasters at this point. Chan Seok stands among the wreckage, questioning Ji-hun's logic. He points out that the country is already a major power, so why all the extra drama? Ji-hun lunges forward, glowing with dark energy and screaming that it is not enough. He wants a nation that the world is forced to look up to. Talk about a massive ego. Chan Seok pulls a slick move, sliding low to dodge a lethal strike. He's using every bit of his experience just to stay in the game. Ji-hun takes to the air, shouting about creating an unshakable superpower. He's fully deluded into thinking he's the hero of this story. We get a quick flashback showing people being extorted and forced to bow in the past. It seems Ji-hun is motivated by some deep-seated historical grudge. Chan Seok analyzes his opponent mid-fight, noting that Ji-hun is a Taekwondo black belt and way faster than he expected. He's definitely struggling to keep up. A vision of a flag over a traditional gate appears, emphasizing Ji-hun's warped sense of nationalism. He thinks he's paying everyone back for past humiliations. A gigantic explosion of blue energy fills the screen with a massive bang. Chan Seok is throwing everything he has left into this. Split panel reaction. Both Chan Seok and Sun-ah are trying to make sense of Ji-hun's insane claims. If Korea disappears, the current world order goes with it. Ji-hun just scoffs at the idea of saving the world. He knows Chan Seok has zero intention of being a global hero either. He looks down on our hero, claiming many lives are in danger and that Chan Seok is the one who truly doesn't understand the big picture. Chan Seok pauses, looking genuinely concerned. He wonders if Ji-hun's words carry some weight. Would controlling the erosion zones really change everything? He ponders the possibility of a world where they don't have to risk their lives anymore because they've mastered the rifts. It's a tempting vision. We get a close-up of his eye as he imagines living comfortably and safely. But we all know a deal with a psycho like Ji-hun is never that simple. Chan Seok calls for a halt, saying he's willing to cooperate if the conditions are right. He even offers to hand over Sun-ah. Wait, is he actually betraying her? Ji-hun just gives him a cold, side-eyed glare. He's not falling for it and asks why he should even bother telling him anything. Chan Seok's face is priceless. He's totally faking the shock. He calls Ji-hun out on the sufficient control claim, realizing it's all a bunch of half-truths. The act is over. Chan Seok narrows his eyes, calling Ji-hun a fraud who talks a lot but has zero real proof to back it up. Ji-hun absolutely loses his cool, screaming to shut up as he launches into a ferocious high kick. The negotiation is officially dead. Chan Seok skids back across the broken ground, clicking his tongue. He realizes he might have overdone it with the trash talk. A massive shockwave tears through the area as their powers collide again. Debris is flying everywhere in this high-tier battle. Chan Seok is starting to hit his limit. He knows his mana isn't enough for his ultimate move, so he has to settle for the friction of war. We see his eye and his glowing wrist gear as he tries to stall for time. He's desperately trying to buy a few seconds to recharge his mana pool. Ji-hun looks momentarily confused, wondering why Chan Seok is suddenly slowing down. He thinks he's won. Suddenly, Sun-ah charges back into the fray, her body crackling with green electricity. She isn't out of the fight yet. Ji-hun looks down at her like she's a nuisance, mocking her for not being paralyzed with fear. This guy's arrogance is off the charts. Sun-ah grips her weapon with total determination. Ji-hun asks if she's feeling braver, completely underestimating her. Chan Seok warns her to stay out of it, noting that she's also out of mana. He doesn't want her getting killed in a fight she can't win. She looks back at him with a knowing gaze. She realizes he just needs time to recover, and she's ready to provide it. Sun-ah chugs down an elixir in one go. She tells him she can give him exactly 5 minutes. Chan Seok looks stunned, asking how long as she readies her lightning. She tells him to leave it to her, her body absolutely surging with power. She's going to go all out to hold the line. The empty elixir bottle hits the ground with a soft clink. The countdown has officially begun. She admits this is an emergency, and she's risking an overload from too many elixirs. It's a one-shot deal, and she's putting everything on the line. Chan Seok looks determined, checking his gear. He knows that after those 5 minutes, he has to finish this crap once and for all. Sun-ah looks back one last time, her eyes glowing. She tells him he mustn't lose. The pressure is officially on him. A massive bolt of lightning strikes the mountain range in the background. The environment itself is reacting to the insane power levels. A wide shot of the dark, rainy road. It's the perfect setting for a final showdown. Ji-hun is having way too much fun, surrounded by a storm of blue lightning. He cackles about how he might accidentally kill her. He leans in close to Sang-ah's face with a creepy command to relax. This guy is a literal creep on top of being a mass murderer. Sang-ah's eye narrows in focus. She's not intimidated by his trash talk, she's just looking for an opening. Another colossal bolt of lightning crashes down, turning the night into day for a split second. Sang-ah catches Ji-hun with a solid hit, and he starts bleeding from the mouth. She asks if that finally hit home. Ji-hun just floats back, looking completely bored. He calls her attack ticklish and prepares to end it. A massive explosion erupts as their powers clash again. Sang-ah is being pushed to her absolute limit. Ji-hyun looms over her, ready for the killing blow. It looks like the 5 minutes might be up already. A hand suddenly grabs Ji-hun's shoulder. The savior has arrived. Chan Seok is standing right behind him, looking totally calm. He gives him a casual greeting, which is the ultimate gotcha moment. He looks Ji-hun right in the eye and asks if he's ready to die. The table has officially turned. Ji-hun is visibly sweating now. He can't believe Chan Seok's mana has increased this much and thinks he was hiding his strength. Chan Seok catches a falling Sang-ah and asks why he's surprised as his hand glows with blue energy. He points out Ji-hun's facial piercings, explaining it's the same principle. He's figured out how the villain is channeling his power. He grips his spear, telling Ji-hyun he'd have to be a fool not to notice the trick. Our boy is just too smart for this guy. Ji-hun looks furious, realizing his secret is out. He claims the air is filled with his purified mana and that it's leaking everywhere because Chan Seok is overdoing it. Chan Seok just laughs it off, thanking Ji-hyun for the mana boost. He's literally used the villain's own energy to restore his paradoxical phantasm flame. Ji-hun is losing his mind, screaming that there's no such thing as a method to absorb wasted mana. He's totally broken now. Chan Seok looms in the shadows, looking like a total demon. He tells Ji-hun he doesn't need to know the secret since he's going to die today anyway. Talk about a cold line. The final move is here. Blue trajectory flashes across the screen in giant letters. It's about to get loud. Chan Seok unleashes a 16-hit chain that fills the air with blue slashes. He's tearing Ji-hyun apart in a blur of motion. Absolute peak fiction.